Hello, Welcome to the Honest Wargamer. I'm your host, Rob. Welcome to Ladies' Night. That's right, it's 40k Thursday, where we discuss all the things... Oh, damn, I already messed it up. Where we already discuss all the things in 39 plus 1k space, or something. I messed it up straight away. Rubbish. Hello to everyone in the Twitch chat, and I'm joined by my two amazing regular Thursday show hosts, Nick and Tom. Nick, I'll start with you. How are you, babe?
Hello. I'm pretty good, thank you. I've had a relatively normal day today because I've had some annual leave today, and I went to a shop.
Oh,
I went to a shop.
Was it open?
And I bought a sandwich from another shop, and then I came home.
It
was a great. I had a great time. Yeah, it was a great time. And then week in Warhammer, I've just been painting some death shrouds. That's what I've been up to this week. Really. Not painting, sorry, building more death shrouds because I've got a narrative campaign coming up when we are able to play Warhammer again. And the narrative behind my Death Guard army now is going to be as many Death Shroud Terminators as possible in the list.
As a narrative wargamer, I completely respect your decision there. I too have a strong narrative love of Death Shroud Terminators specifically. So weird.
The lore is so great behind them.
It's so good, so good. All right, I'd like to hear more about that in a minute. Tom, welcome to the show. How are you, babe?
I've just been told that one of my players for a team event in October can't make the Sunday, so I'm doing great. Thank you, mate.
You learned this second.
He's literally just messaged me, and I'm just like, brother.
Brother, don't jest me.
If everyone could just do us a favour and not in any way message Tom on any platform during the Thursday show, he does struggle to not pay attention to that.
I provide additional context from the original author.
Okay.
That's what I do, okay?
All right.
That's why we have three people. You two to talk and me to do the traffic and travel.
All right, that works.
Cut to Tom in the helicopter.
Yeah. By the way, I'm loving all the updated emotes, by the way. They're looking good.
They are looking good. The most
and how come
one...
we've got so many
By the way,
emotes
can
now?
we increase the cost on this word ban? Because we're not going to be allowed to say any words at this rate.
It's only for 5 minutes that they ban it.
All right, okay. That's fine.
So we're partners now, boys.
Nice.
Official
Tom,
streamers. We need drips.
We're official streamers. First time I've actually had anyone on the show with me as my co-partners, because we're in a co-partnership, codependent partnership.
So great.
Yeah. How do you guys feel? Congratulations to you both for helping us get here. How do you feel?
I feel fantastic. It's great news because we get more emotes and more stuff to do with the Twitch platform. And, if I was going to be partners with anyone, I'd want it to be you two both at the same time.
Nice. Appreciated. Tom, how do you feel?
I'm browsing Google right now for Supreme jackets. And that's how I feel.
Because we're hype beasts.
Flannels.com. Oh my word, these are obnoxious. Holy shit, look at the state of these, chap.
Hey, we look great. There we go.
Oh, by the way, also, I just want to call out some hobby I've done. I had a very...
I did ask you.
I know, but I was disappointed by someone else. I'm disappointed by someone else now, Rob. So I have finished all my guardsmen, right? And as a reward for finishing all my guardsmen, I was going to paint the only guard character that isn't flat. And that is Sly Marbo, okay? I've got him. He looks cool, okay? And I was so excited to unbox this guy, right? Because he's just Rambo in space. And when I opened him up, and he's fucking fine cast.
Oh, he's fine cast.
Fucking
clip.
Fine cast.
Clip.
It's not acceptable. And now I don't want to paint him. Now there's no flash.
What?
Really? But I need to wash it. And I can't wash it in too hot water because he'll bend.
Tom,
so I'm very
I thought you'd be all up for bathing a muscly fella.
Hold on. Thank you to Sir Derpington for donating £100 to the show. Yeah, I know. What the fuck?
Does that cover a new injection molder that isn't fine cast for Sly Marbo?
Sir Derpington, thank you. That's so lovely of you. I don't know what's going on there. That's incredible.
That's very kind of you, dude. Thank you.
Yeah, that's very. Wow, thank you. Also, cheers from Texas. Oh, no, thanks. That's lovely. Thanks to you.
Cheers,
Love
man.
your show. Keep hustling, gents. Oh, my God. Thank you. I think also anyone who supports the show, probably some sort of like rebel in their own community as well. That is a lot of jam.
Yeah.
Can I tell you what that will be spent on, if that helps you immediately? This, Nick, Tom, I've been doing my own hobby. Now, you might have seen it on the stream already, but there's some big dick energy from Sir Derpington is going to be turned into Necron terrain. Tell me this doesn't look amazing.
That looks fantastic, yeah.
Can you see this? Oh,
Yeah.
Tom, thanks for gifting a subscription.
I mean,
to
if he's
Sir
given
Derpington.
that, if he's given that kind of money, you might as well get some emotes.
Yeah, get some emotes.
Get
yeah.
some emotes, mate.
And those.
So-
There you go.
I've started work on this 40k terrain, so Derpington, all of that money. So that'll buy about 5 spools of printer material, which you'll probably do about 2 boards of 40k terrain.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Nice, so 2 boards.
Pretty
worth of
good. So
terrain.
thank you so much. That's fucking super class of you. But this stuff looks. So I got all this. So Tom, I'm gonna let you know the kind of plan because I think you're excited. Still kind of blown away by Sir Derpington's thingy, and also I just don't want to miss the fact that a Karoma also subscribed. So massive love to you.
Hey.
There is an incredible STL designer. Now, how I'm going to make this into like WTC compliant terrain? Fucking, I don't know. I've been like,
Angular terrain, as we can't use the other word right now.
oh yeah, angular terrain. Sorry, angular terrain. But I do think I'm gonna base it, and I'm gonna create. I'll give you guys an example here. If you look, so this would be your angular shape, yeah, much like an half a T.
Yeah, much like a letter halfway down the alphabet.
What about a J?
Yeah. So I
Not
think
quite
I'm
a J,
gonna
it's
do.
too bendy.
I think I'm going to do 3 pillars, and then I'm going to put some like Necron beams, like it's a what's the right, like a fence, like a does that
Like
make
a
sense?
power
You know
grid.
yeah,
Like a
you know, like
power
the
grid.
rods. Yeah, you know the rods
Yeah,
you used to
yeah.
get for Necron. So put them in between and make like a power grid, and I think that's going to look wicked. And also not that expensive, because these are obviously a lot chunkier than this one. So anyway, I just thought I'd bring it up. So Derpington, that's lovely of you. That's all come from that. So the most important thing about us reaching partner, Tom and Nick,
Yep.
and everyone in the chat, is of course that we have a 500-point stomper emote.
We do.
Oh God.
We do.
And,
Where is it?
and the implications of this emote are far wider reaching than just our chat.
Yeah, it's true. If they ban the words, we have a backup.
If they ban
is
the
a-
words, we have a backup forever. Like, if they're like, we're going to ban
You
Astartes,
could just
we'll be
ban
like,
the emote, to be honest.
yeah, we'll be like, we'll get an emote
Yeah.
for that. We are
The
now
mod-
unstoppable.
Yeah, the mod who ages ago, all that time ago, banned the word stomper in Warhammer TV chat. Thought that was the end of the story, but no. 6
We're
months
far too
later,
petty for that shit.
we're back.
Little did he know we would go on an extensive campaign to keep numbers high on Twitch to reach partner exclusively for this one reason.
The chat.
That's it.
So we're all getting banned. So that's exciting and really good news there. I'll be honest, so Derpington's kind of thrown me now, and I don't know how to host the show. Nick, could you
Okay,
kind
you
of
never
help me
did.
out? Where do we go next?
Well, where do we go next? We're just going to do a bit of news reviews today, I believe, because we've talked about all of our hobbies now. We've done the broadcast hobby warm-up. We're into it now. We've talked about partner, and I think the first bit of news up to talk about is Bellicor.
Well, yeah, but can we go back to my hobby a moment? You know
Okay,
how
all
overall-
right. We'll talk about you a bit more.
Because
You
this
have
is
to host the
work.
show, Nicholas, but he ruins it.
Yeah, Nick did really well. I just wanted to say that I was bummed that I painted all the rubbish Death Guard. I haven't brought that up online yet.
Yeah,
The-
no.
I
You're not
painted
doing
it-
you're not doing like a passive aggressive tweet to all the people who sent you Death Guard stuff. Because Rob got sent a load of Death Guard stuff for his army, but either through like some deep-rooted conspiracy in the community, they sent Rob all the stuff that was shit now in the Codex, and not any of the good stuff. Or is this a long con by Games Workshop because this was all the stuff in Conquest magazine that everyone wanted to buy to get it because it was cheap, but actually when the new Codex comes out, it's rubbish. So I think Rob's got like 1 million Plague Marines, loads of Mephitic Blight Haulers.
I painted up over Christmas 45 Plague Marines. It took quite a high standard for me, standard, and they're not Death Shrouds, are they?
No, but you got some Blight Lords though, haven't you?
I've got some. I've got a hodgepodge. I've got a collection of some Blight Lords.
Have you got any flails?
Yeah. No flail. One flail.
Oh shit.
I've got 3 Plague Splitters. The Plague Splitter one's good.
Yeah, they're all right.
Oh, for God's sakes. That's what I feel like my entire Death Guard collection, which I was painted. 7 Mephitic Blight Haulers. Are we using those in lists?
Can you even take 7?
Don't think so.
You could take 9. Okay, there we go. You used to take them in 1 to 3. That'll bring us up to some news.
Here we go.
Yeah. Rob was adamant that Death Guard was about the Marines, not Poxwalkers, though. Stand by your convictions. Apparently, Poxwalkers, I need to paint 60 of them.
That's okay. We've already got started on that, mate.
I've done 20, and that's it. I'm stopping there.
Behind me. It's going to get shaken and bacon.
I have 3 Plague Drones painted. Yeah? Ask me how many of them are Flesh Mower Plague Drones.
How many of them are flesh mowers?
None of them. I seem to have like some sort of like game. You know when the floor falls away from each step? Yeah? Yeah. But I somehow am like landing on all the ones where they're missing. I don't know how I did it. Anyway, that's just my Rob with the bad purchase decisions. You should have just asked Tom. I should have.
Yeah. People were just offloading bad stonks onto you. A bit unlucky.
Just don't sell anything. Like, you can't make bad purchase decisions if it has no value because you just hoard it in your small cave.
You're just ready for the next codex when they make them good again. Can't wait for 4 years.
It should only be 4 months at this rate.
Yeah, it's true. All right, Nick, you did a great job of moving the conversation on.
Moving it on until you jolted it right back again.
Sorry.
Now we're going to start again.
You reset Rob. It was fine. You did great.
Yeah. Thanks to Gebs for donating a gift subscription in the chat. That's lovely, Gebs. Big love to you.
Who got the gift?
Here's Gebs.
I can do it. I can do it.
Exarath has just subscribed first time ever. Let's go. All right. Be'lakor. Be'lakor got released this week. Not released. Showcase. Previewed. We saw some Be'lakor hot goss. Okay.
Yes.
Tom, do you want to take us through it?
So, if you go to Warhammer Community, you can find a very concisely named article called Be'lakor returns to the 41st millennium and he can basically chop a tank in half. That is the name of the article. So you can find that on 15th of March. If you want to follow along at home, you can have a look at that. So they talk about Be'lakor, blah, 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 blah. He's a big boy. He's also in Immortal Realms, but he's also in 40k. Brilliant. Yep. Then they show a picture of the model, they show some art, and they show some more art, and then they show some stuff we care about, and then that's the end of the article. So they show us a couple of things that we care about. I'll start with the most exciting things because I don't want to put it off. It's mainly the durability buffs that he gets. So one of the issues he had previously with Be'lakor is that you couldn't use Warp Surge on him, I believe, because he had a rerollable invulnerable save innately, but it was a 5+. So it wasn't particularly consistent. It was like a 55% pass rate, right? So they've got rid of that and we've replaced it with Immortal Vigor, which is Be'lakor now has a 4+ invulnerable save, and each time a ranged attack is made against this model, it's -1 to wound, which is very, very important. I don't know if I'm assuming that Warp Surge can't take him past a 4+. So he's always stuck on that 4+. So the number of wounds and his toughness value is going to be very, very interesting, especially when you take into account that subtract 1 from the attack's wound roll. But I wouldn't imagine he's anywhere below toughness 5 or 6 at least. So it's already going to be very, very good.
Probably 6.
Yeah, exactly. And then his second rule is Shadow Form. So each time an attack is made against his model, your opponent cannot re-roll the hit roll. And each time an attack is made against this unit, subtract 1 from the attack's hit roll. So basically, he's always -1 to hit. And if you are shooting him, he's also -1 to wound as well. And you can't ever re-roll to hit, which is big if you're hitting things like Repentia or any kind of Castle thing or what have you. And then he's got a 4+ invulnerable save as well. So he's got a lot of durability buffs, which I think are really, really going to help him, especially if he's going to be like a high wound count model, which is entirely possible.
That's what I was actually going to bring up. That's what I was going to bring up. Like, he's got stonkier. Yeah, he's much chonkier.
He is chunkier.
Yeah, and so I feel like his wounds cap is going to go up. And his toughness.
I tell you what I want to see, mate. I want to see when this model gets dropped, I want to see someone count the number of skills on this thing. and get back to us, because there's a lot of skulls on this. Like
There's a
1,
lot
2,
of
3,
skulls.
4, 5, 6,
Now, Twitch chat, I'm going to want you guys to tell me how many wounds and or
17 at
toughness
least.
you think he's going to have. I've got some guesses I want to throw out, if that's okay. Can I just, I forgot to welcome everyone to the chat as well. So, hello everyone, Tom Whitbrook, Big Goldfish, Hermanista, big love to you. Valerie, who's got a question for you, Tom, we're going to have to answer next. K-Dread, Sergeant Rolf, Blood Pod, thanks for pointing out my terrain. Also, something about the terrain I forgot to say as well. I'm in a terrible presenter mode today, I'm so sorry. Nick, you got any thoughts about toughness and wounds?
I think he's going to be. I think he'll still be toughness 6, but I think he'll be 10 wounds, maybe 10 or 8 wounds. Because I think with all the resilience buffs that he's been given, I think if they put him up to I don't know, like 14 wounds, it'd be a bit too much. So I think he'll be around 9. Yes, 8 to 10 mark, somewhere around there.
I feel like they give him toughness 7, 16 wounds, and a 10-inch move.
What do you think they're going to give him?
Toughness 6. Toughness 7, 16 wounds, and then maybe a 10 or 12-inch move.
I think he's going to end up as. I think he'll end up with like quite a high wound cap. 16, 18?
18 would mean that you can see him over the top of the buildings, like you can with Knights and Mortarion and Magnus.
So, like, narratively, is he Magnus Morty level?
He's like the
Silent
original
King
Demon
level.
Prince. He's the original Demon Prince, right?
Yeah, it's just
that's what I'm saying.
It depends how much weight you put on Demon Princes in the lore, right? In 40k.
I think they're going to pump it up. I think that they might make him like 18 wound level, toughness 8. I think that that's very possible. Like, we might see a big upgrade, is what I'm saying. Like, so, and, like, maybe we won't, maybe we will, but like if he's toughness 8 -1 to wound, oh boy. Even if he's toughness 7 -1 to wound, what do you think? I think that's still.
It's -1 to wound against ranged only, but yes, that's still decent.
Okay.
Although if it's toughness 8 -1 to wound, he's basically like impervious, which is insane. So
interesting. I think they're going to want to get him on the table. I think, to be honest. Valerie reckons it's going to be tough 7, 16 wounds. Tom Whitbrook reckons 1 wound max per phase. Will we see that go in? We've seen that go in for, obviously, Gazgul. We've seen that go in for...
Yeah, I can't see them giving him Bellicor that. I think that's a new way they've found to make big centerpiece models and characters more resilient, and I'm glad they're not just spamming it on everyone. They found like a different way of making Bellicor more resilient with a few more complicated rules. And
same with Mortarion as well, right? It's literally identical. Like, they didn't give him like a wound cap, but they still made him very, very resilient, which is nice.
Yeah.
See, toughness 7, 10 wounds. It's fascinating, but only 1 wound, 6.9 wounds. Great decision.
Yeah.
I just like to point out that today I found out that we have 6,967 subscribers on YouTube. So close.
Excellent.
Wait, 6'9"? Nice.
6,996 or something. No, not 96. Whatever it is. Something that's close to the magic number. Big shout out to Gus in the chat as well. Lovely seeing him here, and .com. Okay, so we also found out he's bought. We don't know how many attacks he has yet, but he's a baller in combat, Tom, right?
Yeah. I wish they'd done the sweeping strike a bit more justice. I feel like it's a little bit underwhelming. So just to clarify that for a bit for the audio listeners at home, if you are not following along the article, he has 2 modes of fighting. So he has a sweeping strike, which is every time you attack with him, every 1 attack counts as 2, and it's strength user AP -3 damage 1. Or you can attack with piercing strike, which is his big attack. So you don't get double the number of attacks, you just get your base. And then that becomes, you cannot take invulnerable saving throws against it. It's strength +4, AP -4, damage D3 +3. Now, I wish they'd done the sweeping strike a little bit better, because when I'm comparing them against, for example, Incursus, right? Or any kind of Primaris Marine, let's say. If I am looking at hitting those with Bellicor, I need to work out which one of these 2 profiles is better, right? Now, every time I kill something with Piercing Strike, every time I wound with Piercing Strike, I kill it, right? Because I've got D3 +3 damage, so I'm automatically doing 4 damage at least once I'm killing it, right? Every time I hit something with Sweeping Strike, I do 1 damage. So for every one piercing strike wound has to be worth, let's say, 2 sweeping strike wounds in terms of damage output, right?
Yep.
The problem, and luckily, you've got 2 hit rolls, but that assumes that you're wounding on parity, right? So for a start, you're probably wounding on 3s over 2s with your sweeping strike, because I'm assuming you strength 5 or higher. And equally, you also get a save against it with Intercessors as well, because it's only AP -3, which means you get a 6-up save. Which means that if you're ever fighting against Intercessors, it's mathematically better in every single instance that you take the Piercing Strike. And when I think of Intercessors, they are kind of like the chaff of the army, right?
They are.
I
mean, it's
feel
quite
like,
scary, but that's true.
I feel like here you have a chaff killer in Sweeping Strike and a big thing killer in Piercing Strike, but when you hit the chaff of the most common army in the game, you have to use the big tanky hit.
Well, I get your point, but I don't think the Sweeping Strike really is. I think it's just a bit of a weird thing that Intercessors are Marines chaff. I think generally other armies chaff will be toughness 3, 1 wound with a shit save, so his sweeping attack will be useful in that situation.
Okay, so it's weird to me when we talk about that, because Space Marines are meant to be the standard, right? So let's say let's take the examples where you might have 1 wound chaff. So Orcs, maybe you take Admech, you take I think Dark Eldar, Tyranid Gaunts, that's fine. Yeah, but those kinds of things. If I'm looking at Orc Boys, for example, it's still not a massive difference, because you've still got a 6+ feel no pain on all those dudes, so you're mitigating it somewhat. The AP, it doesn't really matter about the AP, but strength, you're winning on 3s compared to 2s, so that's still a big miss, right? So let's say you've got 6 attacks. Let's say you're hitting with all of them, because let's assume that you're hitting on 2s for rolling 1s. You are then wounding with 10 attacks with the piercing. Sorry, not 10 attacks. You'll be wounding with 5 attacks with the piercing strike, and you'll be wounding with the sweeping strike. Let's say you've got 12 hits, that'll be 10 times, right? You're not going to get anything from a feel no pain there, but you're probably going to get 2 feel no pains off with the sweeping strike. So with the piercing strike, you're getting only 3 fewer kills than you are with the sweeping strike, even into the chaff. What I would really have liked to see with the sweeping strike is really it be improved to a point where it's actually really good as a chaff killer, not just an option in case you're hitting something like I don't know, gaunts or what have you, right? I would have preferred to have seen it personally 3 hit rolls rather than 2 instead of 1, or damage 2. I think that would have made him much more versatile rather than a kind of niche piece that really needs to hit certain things, because as we just established, killing 8.
I think he's going to be versatile anyway, because
I think the versatility in so there's some great comments being made in the chat, like that maybe chaff of the so Intercessors are the chaff of Marines, but not the chaff of the game. But then another good
but they
point
are the standard faction.
Yeah, but then made by Valerie is that in 9th edition, I would say Intercessors feel like the standard chaff because they're so common and they're all over the place. But for me, I think the really important point is that he's a great Terminator killer. Because then
unless you're Dark Angels.
Well, yeah, unless you're Dark Angels. But like everyone else, I think that's actually really solid. And he can go into a squad of Terminators and pretty much one-shot them. And also he's going to be very mobile versus a lot of and it feels like, more than anything, I don't know about you guys, feels like over the past few months, the push towards Terminators has been very significant. Even Blade Guard vets, not just Dark Angels, just generally. And I think he's going to do a smashing job, of chopping the heads off.
I'm not even necessarily saying he's bad, but I think in this kind of loadout, he has to pick and choose his targets a bit more. Whereas if you buffed up that sweeping strike, you could say, he's this massive big fucker, and he just runs in and fucking hits Summit and does tons of damage, right? And I think I'd have liked to see that personally, but that doesn't mean that the opposite opinion is necessarily wrong. It's just what I want to see out of Be'lakor. I have 2 Be'lakors sat in my cabinet. I love the character. Mate, I'm gonna need a whole shelf of this big fucker. Holy shit! So yeah, I'm really excited for it. I would have liked to see him be a bit more he's been around a long time. Surely he's got good at killing everybody rather than just tanks and Terminators.
I see what your point is. To be honest, I want him killing Terminators more than I want him to kill 10-man squads. That's what I really want him to do at the minute. I'm glad that he's in there to do that, to be honest. And I think no invuln saves is super cool. And also, I think it'll be interesting Be'lakor generally leading like demons as a whole. Demons doing fairly well competitively at the moment, not doing too bad. Like, and having another piece in that kind of pie. A lot of the people in the chat earlier were saying that they think Chaos stonks. Nick, as a long-time Chaos player, Chaos stonks generally. We've had the Imperium. We've had a lot of the Marine stuff. We'll get onto the book in a moment, and the formations and everything else. We'll get on there in a minute. But we've left a lot of Imperium behind in the Marines. So now we get to focus on that Chaos. Are you not feeling like some big energy coming to Chaos at some point?
Yeah, it feels like that underground volcano at Yellowstone National Park. The Chaos volcano might explode any minute with all the codexes and everything. So I think the bets are on now. What units are going to be good? Are we going to have people like Rob gambling on the Death Guard, buying all the Mephitic Blight Haulers he can get his grubby little hands on, and then it not paying off? Yeah, so it'll be. I mean, the last Chaos Space Marine Codex, the version 2 that we got, was very, very disappointing because it wasn't really the second version. It was kind of the same thing, but with some extra bits and tweaks, and then one new unit, which I think was the Disco Lord. But I think I'm genuinely excited for the next Chaos Space Marine book because I've sold quite a lot of my old Marine army. But I kept half of it, but I kept the combat half, so I've got like loads of like combat Chaos Space Marines and Khorne Berserkers. So I'm hoping that Rhino Rush combat Space Marines will be decent.
Well, because you own them.
Hey,
yes.
Nikos, have you ever played 5th edition? Would you like to? I think you'd enjoy it, mate.
I don't know. Like, I think it's going to be super strong. Someone asked how much do we think it's going to. How much do we think it's going to cost? I don't know. I don't like to get into those chats. Whatever, £100 probably. He's going to be over.
Oh yeah, £95 at least.
100 at least, I think.
Yeah.
How hard can we frugal hammer this? I reckon we can convert this model.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. He's going to cost a lot.
Yeah. Sculptors and noobs compared to us. We got this.
However, dear God, there's some really nice other versions of Be'lakor out there in the world. So they're just going to get 3D prints go brr. Which would be fun, and being able to chop people's heads off with that sword is super sweet. I'm very excited for Be'lakor because actually he gives me like a named character in the Chaos universe that you can attach something to, an update. It feels like Chaos has needed that for a while. I know we had Thousand Sons, I know we had Death Guard, and oh no, actually that's not fair. We've had quite a few actually. We've also had Abaddon, so there's been some nice key pieces, and I think playing the bad guys is fun. So I'm very excited for Be'lakor. Personally.
I'm really excited because I get to start in Model Bank where I loan out models for a fee, and then if I had Be'lakor, I've got both markets. So it's
you know that there's a place I can't remember exactly where it is, somewhere near the North Pole where they keep all the seeds of all the plants on Earth.
Oh yeah, the seed repository.
Yeah, the seed depository. Is your long-term plan to be that, but for Warhammer?
Yeah, just lend out. Like I'm a library for Warhammer, mate. I am the bank.
Yeah.
The Iron Bank of I don't know Yorkshire.
Going to the WTC. Don't want to invest in this particular army.
Just Tom turned up with suitcases.
You can loan it for a certain period of time in a secure case. Pay your deposit today.
The Doomsday Vault in Norway. No, that's what it is. But Tom with just 2 suitcases and wearing all of his clothes at a WTC event. Does that anyone want to rent any models?
WTC event. Yeah.
Let's go. Tom is a Gringotts goblin. He is.
Slightly less problematic than the Gringotts goblins.
Yes, Meatball says, don't worry, I'll ask the question. I'll be very interested to see what they do with Chaos. The whole of 8, they had to rely on obtuse start and strat and psychic combos. I expect will be diverse and a good based on recent books. It's true.
Yeah, because it kind of was Codex Warp Time.
It was.
This is why I was like, yeah.
And Codex Veterans of Long War, Endless Cacophony. That's kind of it.
Still is.
And it still is that now. So it would be nice to have,
I mean, it is now the Vigilus has gone, so you can't. Oh wait, never mind. Possessor is still a thing. Okay, then carry on.
Well, so to move the chat on. So Be'lakor, I'm excited. When do we think we'll get him? No idea. He obviously ties in with an Age of Sigmar release, wondering if he also coincides with some sort of 40k release. But it does feel like the 40k releases are very behind on schedule at this point, so we'll see.
Imagine that, they're going this fast and they're behind on schedule.
I know, it's wild. It's wild. Yeah, we would have had like 4 codexes. I don't know. Like someone did say something quite interesting. Like the 40k has been out for like more than 6 months now. Like we're moving on to like 8 or 9 months.
Yeah,
of 40k being out, and there really is only like 3 codexes. There's Necrons, Marines, and all the Marine buff, and Death Guard. There's 3.
Yeah,
like it feels weird.
I mean, you'd be lucky if you got 3 codexes in a year, like in the past.
I never think that's a valid argument, though. I think saying that this company that's bad at something now, yeah, it was bad before.
No, I'm telling you, it was good before. I loved it. No, that's the point. I loved getting time to spend with books.
All right, perfect. Someone said, I'm probably saying he's been released in September, but probably say November. Wow. Didn't they say 40k rules would be a supplement, not the codex? But it could be tying with a greater 40k release, is my point. It might not. They might just be like, this is when he's coming out. And is he the first example of, what the fucking hell? Thank you to Gorka Morka for donating £107 to the show, who said, New Yorkers aren't going to be outdone by Texas.
yeah.
Which is probably the most honest Wargamer donation I've ever seen. Petulant.
I thought you were legitimately saying, is this a first example of fucking hell? As in, like, the model was so nice. But no. It's going straight for the chat. Okay.
Yeah, that's Gorkamorka, thanks. Gorkamorka's always in the chat. It's lovely.
Yeah, cheers,
thank you very much for the... I don't really know if you donated money to the show, though, or mainly just to piss on Texas. I'm not really sure what the impetus was.
Fuck the show, just Texas.
Come on. Someone's got to be listening from LA. Not going to let that stand, are they?
No one in LA's got any money, I don't think. Oh, man, Gorkamorka, thank you very much. And to everyone who tunes in. And it throws me off now, Nick. Could you do something about the show? Because all I want to do is kind of like,
show, please.
Is ring them and say that they're great.
While Rob curls up in a ball, rocks back and forth at the prospect of people being nice to him, we shall move on to the next article that we've got, Tom. We have
ask Tom about the stonks.
7.
That's what people wanted to know.
What?
People wanted to know about the stonks. Tom stonks.
People,
right,
Tom, people want to know your stonks.
Yeah, buy some Venoms. Fuck it. Buy Venoms. I tried to give Gorkamorka a sub there, but he'd already got one, so just like, okay. Unfortunately, yeah, buy Venoms. They're always like really, really good with Drukhari. They're just cheap, they go fast, they're really good in 9th edition. I feel like a couple of people are starting to work out how 9th edition plays now. It's about just trying to lob as little shit on the center of the board as possible, whilst also kicking your opponent off until your opponent runs out of ways to kick you off the center of the board. By center, I just mean objectives in the middle kind of area.
Okay. Yeah. I've got some stonks. The Chaos Codex.
Please, I would like to hear them.
So my gamble for the Chaos Spaceman Codex units that are going to be good are Havocs and Terminators.
Terminators are good call.
Terminators are good now, and I think they'll still be good. Maybe better, but in a different way. But I think... what was the fish unit I said? Can't remember now.
While you're thinking, Nikos, do you think Terminators can still go up in value after appearing on Meat Watch?
Fucking Meat Watch. Carry on. Let's take one.
The official Meat Watch or the
the official Meat Watch on. Well, I don't know what I'm the community.
Right, where are we? What are we saying?
Stonks, Meat Watch, Venoms, Terminators. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was trying to segue us onto the next article.
Go on then. What's the next article? Can I go back a moment to before even Be'lakor?
Oh shit!
What's your hobby again?
Yeah.
No, not my hobby, but the terrain, because this is exciting for you two fuckers, yeah, and those guys. So I got put onto a great Hawkeye. Put me onto a great 3D designer called, I can't honestly pronounce it. It's like even having read it, it's like Communista or something. Tom, you can't while you're on the show ban the word terrain. It's useless. My point is, anyway, is that the two other boards after I'm doing the first Necron board are a Eldar board, Tom, an Eldar city, and a Drukhari city.
Are you going to use that waterfall from Luminaf to make those?
No, there's like the terrain is like really, really, really nice. Like really nice. Cool. Like super good. You're gonna really like it. I'll send you the files later.
Definitely. Yeah,
I just thought I'd bring it up. And they're all by the same guy who's clearly just like, there is a fucking gap in the market, and I'm like, you are smashing this, mate. Like this is such a great, like it looks so good. You're gonna really like it. I'll find the links while Nick brings up the next thing.
I mean, I can't time out myself, unfortunately, Dudade, because or Dadrin, because I am a mod. And
who did you time out?
No, Dadrin's paid 2,000 hydration points to time me out in the chat, which is unfortunate because you physically can't do that. So I am immune, nice bitches. Give it a go.
Right, okay. Let's move on because this show has gone off the rails quickly. Nick,
we had all the show notes. We had everything planned out. We had the whole script locked in. But then these two massive donations have just thrown us off, haven't they?
Mm-hmm. I don't think I was in a good place before, anyway. If I'm 100% with you, carry on.
Okay, so we've got 7 new rules previewed from the Dark Eldar Codex. There's been the Drukhari Codex. There's been 2 articles. One of them we're completely discounting because only Scrivo was interested in it because it's a Crusade-themed article.
Oh my God.
We're skipping over that one. So we're focusing on the one from 16th of March, which got 7 rules. So number 1 is Lords of Camarah. So this to me looks like this is their paid-for upgrade. You know, every codex that comes out, it's got some sort of paid-for upgrade. Necrons, it was like Cryptek Arcana. Marines, it was like the Command Squad dudes, and then other stuff. Death Guard, it was Pathogens. So this one, I think, is their one. So it's upgrade to, you can make your Archon a special Archon, basically. And this guy is a Splintered Genius. So once per battle, at the end of the fight phase, if this model is in engagement range with any enemy units, it can fight again. So you can fight twice with your Archon in combat.
Do you think that there's a fair conversation to have about the fact that they don't have big, beefy, like monster or like even mounted units? Like, you know, the Slaplin, like the chaplain on the bike. Yeah, who's just
they have a single character who's. I mean, they've got like stuff like Talos and the Grotesques, right? It's like combat monsters in a way.
Yeah, but they don't have like the buffed characters or the buffable characters, is what I'm saying. Like the reason the Slaplin works so well is because you stack so many things on top of him.
Yeah, you can give him a relic, warlord trait, buffs, all that kind of stuff.
Like 2, can't you? You can give him 2 warlord traits.
I think some books you can, yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like the little toughness 3 Archons are in a tough spot, or they don't care? Do you know what I mean?
Well, generally, I don't think they're in the army for that. I think the armies tend to work slightly differently. Generally, they have been in the past, like just a buff piece to give reroll ones to hit, stuff it around it. Mm-hmm. And maybe like their warlord trait, whatever, that's a force multiplier buff. That's what they're in there for. I wouldn't necessarily pay for this upgrade if I'm very inexperienced in the Dark Drukhari, so I wouldn't say I know that much about them, but I wouldn't think that it would be that worth it to buff up an Archon to be good in combat.
No, you don't really.
Because he's there to just give the rerolls, really.
Unless there's a way to like get a consistent charge, potentially even then I don't think you do it, or stick him on a bike or on a Hellion hoverboard or something like that, then maybe you can do it. But even then, I feel like it's not generally what you want to do. Normally with Drukhari, you just take either the cheapest HQ you can, or you take a Homunculus, which can then buff up the toughness of the Venoms, which is actually hilarious. So it's not something you tend to do. I think the only time you ever really see Archons is when you take it with a relic that allows you to get reroll 1s to wound within a certain radius, and then you pack it with 3 Ravagers and a Spearhead, and you just go.
Okay, I was just generally hyped for. I think the aesthetic is super strong for Drukhari. Mainly the Craftworld aesthetic could be good, but it's I think 83 years old. Am I right? Is that about when the last model was released for Craftworld?
Yes. Oh no, unless you
earlier
count
than
James
that.
Arm. Unless you count James Arm, the Howling Banshees in that Shadow Spear or whatever it was.
Oh
That was
yes.
a couple of years ago, but that was about it.
Okay. Okay. Shout out to Shadowzun, I think it is, who's doing all the naked Eldar. They make me laugh loads. Sorry, Nick, carry on.
So he also has a relic. So this is kind of similar to that chapter master upgrade. The chapter master upgrade would be the fight twice, and then he also gets access to a specific relic and warlord trait. So the relic is Soul Helm.
Mhm.
So each time an attack is made that targets the bearer, subtract 1 to hit. So it's -1 to hit attacks against the character, and they get a 5-up DPR.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
just a bit of resilience for him.
Yeah, it depends on what else you get to, right? Like if you slap this on a custode shield captain on bike, then it becomes really, really good. But if you slap it on some toughness free, like Twink, that's just wandering around the back of the board.
Twink.
Yeah.
Twink is the perfect word for all of the Archons. They just walk around being twinks. Yeah, they're like, oh, I'm just here. They just remind me of like any clothy in like a movie where there's like the mage with the book. Yeah, and you're like, oh, and like the ogre looks at them and they're like, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. That is every Archon, I think.
Yeah. Like he's still not going to be good enough for you to ever like lob him forwards, and also you don't need to give him durability if you're just hiding this little guy at the back of the board.
Like his entire career.
Yeah, but this
is
guy isn't
hiding.
hiding. This guy can fight twice. Why would
But
he be
should
hiding
he?
at the back of the
But
board?
should he, Nick? Is the question. Should he?
He should be, but he might not be if he's fighting twice.
Well, with that Warlord trait, add one to the damage characteristic of melee weapons the Warlord
Oh
has.
Yeah.
shit!
Oh,
Oh my!
shit.
This guy's a smash captain.
He's coming. I thought, you know what Games Workshop have done? They've seen in 2018 those Blood Angels captains, and they think that the thing that made them good was the fact that you could put buffs on them. So now they just put all the buffs on all the characters, and they think that that's going to make them viable.
I'm excited about it.
What about useless buffs you're never going to use because it's not how the character works in the army?
Yeah, that's my favourite bit. I just want someone being like, what you got? He's like, I don't know if you fucking know this, but this Archon, if he gets in,
He's going to fuck your shit. He has +1 damage.
Got a strength 4 blade.
by the way,
Poison,
thanks to
by the way, he doesn't have an AP value.
thanks to Exrath, by the way, who has subscribed, and it's his first ever Twitch subscription on any channel ever. He
Really?
said before
Well, what a
2019, I know, right? The last time I was in the hobby was 2001, and the Dark Eldar models were the same effing ones on the
Hey,
side.
to be fair, they did update the vehicles of the Cabalite Warriors in 2010, which is 11 years ago.
There you go. Neural Shock Dub says the Dijin Blade with 3 damage makes the Archon pretty good and fight twice. So there you go.
Fantastic. I'll lob him forwards then. Let him go.
Okay, all right. Appreciate you being here. All right, what else have we got for this Drukhari release? Nikos.
So number 2 is
Raiding
what does they say?
Cabalite Trueborn, brother.
Yeah, so it's an upgrade to your normal troops. So for each Master Archon, so if you pay for the upgrade to your Archon to make your Archon the Chapter Master equivalent, like if we're talking Space Marine language, you get to turn 1 unit of Cabalite Warriors into Cabalite Trueborn. I believe Cabalite Trueborn used to be a separate unit choice.
Yes.
So there used to be a separate unit. You'd take them in Venoms as units of 5 with 4 blasters, and you just fly them around the board. So it's
just
basically
kind of
their
like-
equivalent of Stern Guard.
Yeah,
Well, not
so
quite.
They're more
It's more
elite
like
versions of the troops.
It's more like a Devastators. So you'd have like a sergeant, and then you just put a bunch of weapons on the dudes,
Yeah.
and then you fly them around, and you'd spam them, and it'd be fucking great.
Mm. So for each Master Archon you can have 1 unit of Cabalite Trueborn. The max unit size of 10. They get the Cabalite Trueborn keyword, and they get Ballistic Skill 2, which is nice. Extra leadership, and when they're making a ranged attack, they ignore any hit rolls and ballistic skill modifiers.
It's pretty good. Like, so they're
Yeah,
just
not
always
bad.
going to be hitting on 2s.
Yeah. And
Good
probably because if they're near the Archon, I imagine rerolling 1s as well. So nice, reliable shooting.
That's effective. One of the things I just saw in the chat, which I thought was a really good one, was Valerie. Yeah, but what is he going to buff when Ravagers, Venoms, and Raiders are no longer core? So obviously, there's all the exciting buffs coming to some of the upcoming codexes. Like, like it does seem like a lot of the new codexes are a power level above the ones before, a little more well thought out in some ways, but also similarly, some of the ways that some of those codexes have played before have been nerfed, specifically because of the core keyword, right? So the reroll hits or reroll ones to hit, whatever the situation now, or the plus one to hit, whatever the aura was, is now probably only affecting certain units, and specifically being lost off vehicles, which I think is quite telling, right?
Yeah.
Because how many times have you seen a repulsor recently?
It's true. The last time I saw one, it blew up and did 46 wounds to a guy's army. It was great.
Colonel Cabbage with the sweet-ass lore, by the way, big shout out Charlie, says, in the lore, most Drukhari are born in birthing vats, with only the aristocracy having the privilege to have live births. Those are the trueborn, which is actually opposite of how it works.
The Eton chaps, are they?
No, but the Eton chaps are born in the tubes.
Well, actually, I think... So have you guys heard of the term
in
too
real
posh?
Life, yes.
Have you guys heard the term too posh to push?
Yes, I have heard that, yeah.
No, I've never heard it.
So it's the opposite, though. Yeah,
this is the opposite. Yeah, posh to push. This is posh to push. Tom, it's where a lady has a cesarean because it's just easier. Like too posh to push. They can't be bothered with the work. Basically, they've not worked a day in their life, and they're not even willing to,
push.
Yeah, fucking stick a bowling ball down the alley, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, do that thing.
Do that thing. Every day. Right, okay. Let's move on quick from this, if we could.
Okay, moving swiftly on to number 3. In at number 3, raiding forces. So this is a rather complicated thing, which, initially complicated, but I'm sure once we get our head around it, it'll make sense. Yeah, so basically, it's some complicated, convoluted rules of how to build your Drukhari army and how you build your detachment. So basically, you can build it. So if you take multiple patrols, and they all... So if every detachment in your army is a Drukhari patrol detachment, change the command cost of those to 0. So normally if I wanted 3 patrols, the one in my warlording is free, but the other 2 I have to pay 4 in total for that. But if you have 3 patrols in your Drukhari army, they're all Drukhari, then it's going to cost you nothing. So that's a way to get... Because essentially, I think there's 4 ways now to build a Drukhari detachment. You either go all Cabal, and then they all get a Drukhari obsession. You go all Witch Cults, they all get an obsession. You go all Homunculus, they all get an obsession. Or you do like a mixed one, which is called a raiding force. Yeah. Which is like basically where you have... I think it states what you have to have. You have to have an Archon, a Succubus, and a Homunculus as your HQs, and then some Cabalites, I believe, as well. You have to have one of each unit, basically, for a raiding force.
Yeah. While we're on raiding forces, can I make a quick lore point? Because there's something that's been bugging me.
Here we go.
Tom. Tom coming out.
So I was reading the articles for the Warzone Car Sheridan or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And it was telling me about how it's basically Typhus has got his dick out and he's attacking some sector, right?
Yep.
And that's why Typhus is in there. And it's an AdMech kind of sector, and the AdMech are defending it, and that's why the AdMech are there. And then the Drukhari are there because they're raiding and shit, okay? Right? That's just what we're doing. Now, if I'm a Drukhari Archon, and I'm going to lead a raid, where the fuck do I raid? What's a good raiding location? What makes a good raiding location?
Where there's lots of easy pickings.
Yeah, easy pickings.
You guys are pirates. Where are you going to like raid and burn villages?
Games Workshop store.
Yeah, but you're fuck Rob. It's fine. So, right. If I'm a Drukhari Archon, I am going to a poorly defended area with lots of natural resources.
Yeah.
I'm not going to a bombed out active war zone.
So,
particularly like Death Guard, they're going to be a rubbish slave because the Marines aren't going to really be a slave. They'll fight to the death. And the Poxwalkers will just melt as soon as you get them home.
Yeah, that's true. It's like thinking that you're going to steal like a 10 grand car and trying to do it at Fort Knox.
Yeah, I get that the Necromunda guys are kind of scary, but I'd just go wherever they are. Like, toughness 3, Necromunda dudes, they've got a stick to defend them. I'd just go grab those guys. They're super easy to take over, I think. Like, I wouldn't... Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. That's a terrible decision. Why would you... Maybe they're just looking to pick up a couple of injured ones. Maybe they're more scavengers than pirates.
The scavengers, they're not even pirates.
They're not even pirates. Like, they, like, talk a big game. They're like, we'll get you.
Yeah,
And
so
they're like...
Morgan says they could be raiding for supplies, artifacts, or technology they desire. Okay, we'll go and raid like an AdMech world, that's fine, but not one that also has Death Guard looking for the same shit in it.
Okay. Well, I mean, there's some pushback from Yes Meatballs. He's like, wow, lore failure, Tom. If you raid easy foes, your Drukhari peers think that you're weak.
Yeah, but then you'll have all the money to buy all the mercenaries.
It's so complicated being a
I think
you
go to an easy place.
Understand the geopolitical, political landscape of Comora. To be perfectly honest, mate, I think you need to go back to your PhD or something. I don't know.
I think you go to the easy place. You nick all the slaves, and then just before you head back, you shoot at your own ships and give yourself some like battle scars, and you come back and go, "Fucking hell, lads, that was tough. We ran into a whole legion of Chaos Space Marines." Don't worry though, we sorted them out, and sorted them out. We're back with all these slaves.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, that's a good tactic too. Lie to everyone. That's very Drukarian. Yeah, deceive.
Just lie to everybody.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's very. Yeah, there you go.
They're not actually raiding at all. They're just here, like evacuating refugees and helping the poor.
Well, okay, all right. Good. Thanks for the lore diversion, Tom. That has helped me out.
Yeah, before Group got it too. They need the pain, so why raid a world full of robots?
Yeah, they do. They but Mechanicum have got all humans in it, like because they
shut up,
humans.
Rob. No. You can't. You're not allowed to refute my point, Rob. Shut up.
Okay, that's fine. No, I won't do that.
No logic here, Rob. Only opinions.
Is it? What do you get if you use a raiding team then, Nick?
What do I get if I use a raiding team? The raiding forces bit is just about how you build a detachment. You either go all Cabal, all Witch Cult, all Homunculus units, or you do a mixed one with one Archon who has to be your Warlord, a Succubus and a Homunculus, one unit of Cabalite Warriors, one unit of Witches, one unit of Racks. So you have to have those in your detachment if you want to have a real space raid. And then the real space raid, everyone gets the real space raid keyword. You all get an obsession. So I presume they're like the chapter tactics. And then while friendly real space raider core units are within 6 of the raid mastermind, which you can replace with your Archon's Overlord ability, you reroll hits of 1.
Cool.
Okay.
So I presume the Archon's Overlord ability possibly only affects. I'd guess on that it only affects. Well, it's core on this one, but I think it probably only affects Cabal units currently.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you take a real space raid, then it'll affect Witches and Racks and stuff like that as well. I'd imagine.
That'd make more sense.
And then there is, so they're giving us an example of an obsession. So this is Cabal of the Poisoned Tongue. Yeah, the Serpent's Kiss. Mm-hmm. So each time a model with this obsession makes an attack with a poison weapon, improve the poison weapon ability by 1 to a maximum of 2+.
It's pretty good, actually. I kind of like that.
Yeah. So I had a question. What would take precedence? Transhuman physiology type rule or poison?
Transhuman.
Transhuman.
It's always transhuman. Yeah, I believe it's in one of the FAQs. But
is it?
They might. Yeah.
Interesting. So what you're saying though, Nick, is you can only be wounded on a 4+, but you have an ability that lets you wound on a 3+.
Yeah. So this would be poison weapons wound on a 3+ regardless. But then if you're shooting at a unit that says in its rules profile or whatever that it can only be wounded on an unmodified 4 or more, then that would be the way it goes.
All right, yeah. So apparently, Yes Meatballs thinks transhuman is carefully worded to negate stuff like this.
Yeah.
So there's an option there, and then sometimes it goes into like precedent order, like who activated when, and also whose turn it is. But if it's already resolved, then that's good.
Yeah, I believe it's already resolved on that one.
That's good. That's a positive. What's up next? We've seen also a stratagem. if you have the Cabal of the Poison Tongue. It's 2 CP, and use this stratagem at the start of the first battle round. You select up to 3 Cabal of the Poison Tongue units from your army and redeploy them. If the mission uses the strategic reserve rules, any of those units can be placed into strategic reserves without having to spend any additional CP. Regardless of how many
they already have Phantasm?
Well, they might lose Phantasm. This might be instead of it, right?
Yeah.
Well, Phantasm's Craftworld, but is that just Eldari?
I think
they have it. They have a
Drukhari.
They have an equivalent.
Yeah.
Regardless
of how many units are already in strategic reserves, if both players have the ability to redeploy units, roll off. I hate this stratagem, by the way. Like, it's so good.
Why'd you hate it?
It's just playing against it. Oh,
because it's good.
Yeah, well, yeah, just playing against it. Sometimes you feel like maybe it's like when I played it, like maybe with the new terrain, it would change up a lot. Like when I was playing at Warhammer World, I remember playing my friend Rob once, and he just redeployed his whole Eldar force, and I was like, "Cool, you win." Like it was just over. I was like, "I can't get there. Like you're out the way now." It was just tough. But it works really well. But do you feel like it's much of a big? Do you think it's much of a big deal now with the terrain in 9th and how like easy it is to hide stuff?
I don't think it will affect the game as much as it did in your instance way back when, because like you say, you were playing at Warhammer World, which famously doesn't have that much line of sight blocking terrain anyway, and terrain's a different story now in 9th as well. So yeah, I don't think this will be as big of a deal. And it's up to 3 poison units. So it doesn't say core, so it's any of their units. Yeah. And again, with this one, this isn't like redeploying. It's going into strategic reserves, right? So that unit is at least off the board turn 1, so it's not maybe shooting you in turn 1. And there is obviously there's counterplay in putting stuff in strategic reserves because you can screen stuff out. So it's
also,
not.
So at the
it's
start
not like
of the
a
first
win-win stratagem.
Yeah. It's so just so I get part of the ordering right. At the start of the first battle round occurs after we've rolled off to see who goes first.
Correct. Yes.
So I end up in a position where I put my unit in a really good position if I get to go first, like super aggro. And then if I lose the first turn, I'm just like, cool, they can fuck off now.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's such a good ability, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Like that's really important because you can almost bait units out as well. Like you just turn first deploy, and then you just be like, "There's my big brick."
You can also spam it, right? Because it's not in a turn, so you can just go bang, 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 and then redeploy a bunch of units.
Yeah, really good, really good. That's super strong. Okay, apart from Payne has got a chart.
Before we move on, can we just give Gus the Hutt a shout out in the chat because he was the painter gentleman that we raided the other Tuesday.
Little treasure, yeah. Already,
say hi to Gus.
Big shout out, Gus. It was nice seeing him in the chat. It was lovely. It's my new favourite thing. Just raiding raiding at the end of each show. We'll do it at the end of this show as well. It'll be super fun. Plus, there's an achievement now on Twitch, and now that we are exclusively Twitch guys, exclusively, we're all gonna raid all the time. Like, gonna raid up in this. We are the Drukhari stream.
Yeah, how fitting to do a raid at the end of this show after talking about Drukhari.
Perfect. Sorry, the next one to talk about this is the power from Pain. So this is if you. What is this again, Nick?
So this is their turn-based mechanics, similar to like Marines obviously get their tactical doctrine, Necrons get their can't remember what they're called now, protocols. Death Guard got their contagion -1 toughness thing. So this is the Drukhari version. So each battle round you get a cumulative buff.
Yeah. So you get to keep it if it's on or after that turn.
Yes. So the first one is turn 1 to get 6 up invuln save. Turn 2 you can charge if you advance. Turn 3 in melee you add 1 to the hit roll. If it's against a vehicle or a monster keyword, it does not suffer the penalty for its hit rolls in firing in engagement range. And then turn 4 everyone gets a 5+ invuln save. And then turn 6 morale's automatically passed. Units so if anything suffered damage, you double the wounds characteristic for a damage table, basically.
Okay, all right. So just as the game goes on, you just end up with better effects.
Get more,
basically.
get better stuff. So what's quite so everything benefits from like the invuln saves, like your infantry and your vehicles, and then there's some extra little nice buffs for the vehicles in there with the no modifiers in engagement range, and then doubling your wounds profile. So you might have like one of your Ravagers that's like super beaten up on the last turn or turn 4, but then it's suddenly turn 5, it's like top bracket again. So that'd be quite nice.
Yeah, it's really.
So you
good.
can't necessarily confidently leave a vehicle on a couple of wounds. Might be better to kill it rather than let it get that power boost at the end.
Yeah. Blob Fish Slapper. Blob Fish Alpha. Welcome to the show. I've never read your name out in my life, so love that. Valerie, thank you for resubscribing. Tom, I expect better purchase advice next time. So Tom,
I told him to buy Venoms, so I told him to buy Venoms again.
Yeah,
buy Venoms until they have 6.
Big love to you, Blobfish Alpha. Says it's really annoying that you made a really good point. He's not sure how I feel about everyone getting a turn-based mechanic.
So with the Drakari, it's always been a thing for them since 2010, where they had this like table and would work their way down the table and would scale into the late game, right? They have changed a couple of things about it. You used to get a 6+ DPR on turn 1, now it's a 6+ invulnerable saves. I actually think that's better a lot of the time, because if you're rolling the save, often you don't even remember the feel no pain. And then when you're hitting things with AP, which is things that go through your armor save quite a lot of the time anyway, then you're getting a 6+ invulnerable save. And if you pass that, then you live through the damage-free weaponry or the damage-2 weaponry, right? Which is becoming more and more common. The Goliath charge, if you advanced, is always obviously good, especially with Drakari, where you're trying to do that anyway. Flensing Fury, each time model in this unit makes a melee attack +1 to hit roll. That's pretty good. I believe they moved Emboldened Bloodshed, so it used to be on turn 4, I think, and now it's on turn 5, where you automatically pass morale checks on turn 5+. I believe that they used to have Cabal of the Black Heart. It increased the turn by 1 for the purposes of the Path of Pain chart, but I don't know if they're going to do that in the new book, because obviously we haven't seen that yet. I do also like the 5+ invulnerable save, and if you're taking that on Cabal of the Black Heart, that could be really tasty. And then you can also advance charge turn 1 too, which would be really good.
I don't know if we've got here yet, and I don't think we have. Twitch chat, quick straw poll. I'm going to go for it. Use your emotes. Your brand new emotes if you are a subscriber. I want to see some Grot Gang if yes.
I have to work out how to make a poll on Twitch, actually.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah. I don't know how to, though. We'll work it out later.
Okay, well, I could do it. But, the point is do you want them to keep Vect or get rid of Vect? Keep or get rid? Nick,
get rid of it.
Get rid of it. That's your vibe. Tom, what you vibing? Do you want to, Nick? Do you want to give us your reason as to why?
Well, I think it's boring that I go, I'm going to do this strategic play in this strategic game, and you go, no, and that's the interaction. I'm going to do a thing. No, you're not. I'd rather it be I do a cool thing, and then you do a cool thing to respond, rather than just I do a thing. No, because I played Magic ages ago, and it's kind of like that blue deck where there's full of counter spells. Like I do a spell, cancelled. I just cancelled. I just think that as an interaction is nothing and boring.
Is it fun to just do the same thing every single game and not have to have a backup plan?
No.
So what you're saying is, Tom, is it's nice that there's a single instance.
Yeah, I know that there's a couple where you actually have some counterplay for the cool thing, right? It's in the same way that it's boring, but they can just do it. It's also just boring if you can just do your thing every single game and there's never an instance where there's some counterplay.
Okay, that's an interesting take. Let me see what everyone in the chat says. We've got Sir Derpington says keep. A load of people just did emotes, which I love forever. Thank you. I can't wait to get more.
It just says Grot Gang.
I can't wait for more emotes. They're so good. We are getting Stonks emote. I want you to know that. Yes Meatball says keep Vect once per game, 3 CP, Gene Stealer Cult Star. I think once per game is better than
once per game is good. I think that's right. Yeah, I agree.
Because then maybe you bait it out, Nick. Trendy Love, thank you for subscribing or resubscribing. You're great. Colonel Cabbage thinks get rid because it reduces the internal balance. Interesting. Because it's locked, isn't it, to Cabal of the Black Heart?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So how would you feel if it was more generic and you didn't have to go Cabal of the Black Heart just to get it? Because it's so strong. I could see why it promotes, but then also +1 to your invulnerable saves. Also,
it at least forces you to lose something else in order to get it, right? So you're still paying a price to get the stratagem, but it allows you to do things in certain games against counterplay. It's not just like I take book, I do thing for free. It's you lose some things. Now, whether or not it's a meaningful loss is a different question, because we haven't seen the remaining obsessions or whatever they are, right? Whereas before in the previous Drukhari book, you'd always see Cabal of a Black Heart, at least somewhere, because you didn't really care enough about the other shit that it really mattered whether or not you lost it, right? Which is where I can sympathize a lot. So I think just keeping it Cabal of a Black Heart would probably be fine. And I like the once per game thing because it at least then forces an interaction between how it works rather than just keep the CP, which you get to do passively anyway, by the way, because you now get CP generated throughout the game.
One of the same says, keep and change the name of the stratagem to Fuck You Buddy.
That's what we're going to call it on the Honest Wargamer streams now, just the Fuck You Buddy strat.
The Fuck You Buddy strat. Nick, if we turn it to the Fuck You Buddy strat, any more likely to want to keep it now?
Probably, yes. I'd be much more amenable to keeping it if the name was changed to Fuck You Buddy.
What is it actually even called? We just call it Vect.
Isn't it Get Vect? Isn't that the actual strat? What's the strat name? Does anyone know?
Actually even called?
Vect You? I thought it was Vect You.
Oh, I have no idea.
It's not called that. I think once per game is the right decision. Like, if we're going to see it. Agents of Vect, that's what it's called.
I think that's the wrong decision.
Yeah, Fuck You Buddy is what it should be called.
There you go.
I just wondered if you guys had any vibes on it, because it already exists in other books, right? And then there's a relic on this article, which we don't need to talk about, because it's like, whatever.
Combat drugs? We've not talked about combat drugs. Well, that doesn't actually say that, does it? It just says some units get combat drugs, and you can either pick one or randomly determine two. So they're just basically
it's things like witches and witch cults and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I'd like to see the internal balance of the Drukhari book. Because Drukhari book, when it was released, was super strong. Like, I was a big fan. But then you read it and you were like, oh, okay. +1 in fun save, pretty important. Yeah, grotesques, Talos. Like, I remember playing against it at an event. It was horrific. I loved playing against it, but it was just awful. I just felt like I could do nothing. My Borgans just ran up the board and they were like, yeah, I guess I'm dying now. And they had like a 2-up, 4-up. Like, they were just dead. And so you could see 100% why the book's internal balance was so polarized towards these particular sub-factions, ultimately, because it does feel a bit like 3 different books vying for attention.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? I would like to see...
because of the detachment rules that the Real Space Raiders thing, where it looks like there's almost an incentive now you can represent all 3 parts of the book, having a Cabal only detachment, a Witch Cult only detachment, and a Homunculus only detachment, and you're not punished with command points by doing that because of that raiding force rule. So hopefully there is incentives in the book to represent all factions.
Yeah, I think I'm not saying that I just want a whole witch army, a whole Homunculus Covered's army. Like, I think what they'll end up with is there'll just be a good sub-faction for each one, and then you'll either see all 3 in 3 different patrols, or like people just pushing to like just, I don't know, like a larger Homunculus Covered one because that's super strong, whatever the situation. But it does feel more than some other books like it's 3 different books inside one. It reminds me a lot of the Skaven book from Age of Sigmar.
Do you know what it reminds me of?
Like, yeah, go on.
40k Demons.
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah, great example. Yeah, it reminds me of Demons. Yeah. Like, where it's 4 different things inside it, right? Yeah. But then, weirdly, they're like, play it all together, here's one
And you still get more stratagems for each one when the entire book will come
out. Thanks to Matt Aaron in the chat, who's just, fellas catch the restreams all the time, love it, keep cracking on. Thanks, Matt, appreciate you. Okay, all right, so that's the Drukhari book.
Just on the combat book, drugs very quickly, it always feels like it's something that everybody forgets about, right? Because it's a nice little buff for witches, but it's not something that actually changes how they play or changes their strengths, right? If you had a combat drug that gave them a 3+ invulnerable save in close combat, then maybe you're talking. But currently it's like, oh yeah, you get a point of AP on your strength 3 daggers when you're basically just a melee target. It's like, yeah, okay, well, fantastic, okay. Good. Anyway.
Overall, are either of you like actually genuine, like more than just like a bit? Are you excited, like really excited? Is there anything here that's made like jumped out at you and made you like kick off, or it feels like hasn't really been the hubbub around the Drukhari book that there was around the Death Guard book? But I don't know if that's more because I'm genuinely interested in Death Guard.
Yeah, I've never really been interested in the Drukhari. I mean, I think the Drukhari models are kind of cool, but I just don't find myself being drawn to them as an army that much, really. So I'm just not that, and I've never played them. I've played against them a handful of times, so my interest just isn't quite there. But that's more of like a personal thing, not that the rules don't seem like all right. I was just like you, Rob. I was way more excited about Death Guard just because I was building and painting a Death Guard army, and I really liked the models and the aesthetic, whereas less so on these.
Okay, yeah, I get that. Tom, what about you?
I'm excited for it because I like souping shit, and I'm an Eldar player, so it works out fine for me. I also have loads of Venoms, and if they're really good, big stonks. So,
who in the chat is super hype? I know Colonel Cabbage is. He's been a long time Drukhari player. Mr. Gronin also says must take all the combat drugs all the time. Eldar, Big Goldfish says big shout out to Big Goldfish. I saw my Dark Eldar years ago because he doesn't like Eldar. That's fair. Sergeant Rolf, a lot of my buddies are excited about the book, but it's a 50-50 between people wanting to play them or simply just get a glimpse of the future of the Eldar in 9th. Good point. Do you feel like that there was enough similarities between Eldar, Craftworld, and Drukhari, Tom, in 8th that this might be a good indication of what's going to happen with Craftworld?
No. I feel like Craftworlds have our own kind of unique thing where they go for a lot of specializations, right? Rather than, I don't know. I don't really want to draw conclusions on that because I haven't really thought about it. It's one of those weird questions where it's asking me to predict stuff and I have absolutely no clue of the design process because, first of all, it's a little bit hodgepodge anyway. But secondly, I just haven't even considered it. So I wouldn't really want to answer that too much.
Okay. Tom doesn't want to go in for what basically most talking heads do, wild speculation, which is why we're here.
I do wild speculation, but I like to think about it before I do the wild speculation.
That's true. That's fair. Nick, you got any
thoughts? I was more of a modest speculator.
Yeah. Everyone always takes it too seriously whenever you say anything on here anyway, so I'm just like, I either double down, say something like that I know is going to just upset everyone in chat, or I just don't.
All right, well, let's move on to something that should make everyone... There should be no contentious issues about the main subject of the show today, and that is the Book of Rust, Warzone Caradon. So just a quick TLDR. We are getting our first campaign book, which 100% has two different things. It has match play rules, which are for two different things. Sub-factions and, expansions, and also formations. Which Tom, I think, is excited about, and Nick is not excited about, I think, is the right way around.
No.
Tom, are you not excited about formations?
I hate it.
Okay, all right. Twitch chat, I'm going to want your thoughts on formations. Tom, kick us off then. How do you feel about formations?
So, back in the end of 7th edition, I remember Rob set up a channel. Okay? Rob set up a channel, it was called Model Floggers TV. Okay? And let me just sit up in my chair while I tell you a story. I'm going to mute my mic while it squeaks.
Okay, all right. It squeaks all the time, he just doesn't know that.
Shut the fuck up. So, I'm going to get myself a nice one, okay? So, and in one of the streams Rob did, I believe Rob had one of the game designers on.
I did.
And one of the game designers said that they'd noticed one of the big problems with 7th edition was how you had to carry around like 7 different books. And it was a big problem. And they didn't want you to have to do that to play your army. 8th edition was going to be more streamlined, be more accessible. Anyway, here I am with my codex, my FAQ for my codex, my Psychic Awakening, my FAQ for my Psychic Awakening, my main rulebook, my FAQ for my main rulebook, my White Dwarf, my little tournament booklet, my points booklet, and my campaign book with its own FAQ, and all my other stuff.
And your Space Wolf book with its printout of extra
and my
warlord
Space Wolf printout of extra warlord
and
traits.
FAQ.
Exactly, and the FAQ. So it feels like they even acknowledge this is a problem, but they are still willing to completely go over it just for the sake of money. Now, I don't actually begrudge them doing this. Just because I hate it doesn't mean that I don't understand it, because they are a business. They make money, right? So it is what it.
No, I'm going to push back. No, they don't make money.
No, I need to finish my point.
Finish your point. I just want you to make baller money.
That doesn't mean that we should stand for it, though. Just because they want to push it because they believe it's going to make them money and that is their motivation for doing so, does not mean that we have to fulfill that prophecy, right? So if we're playing competitive 40k, it is mainly an independent thing anyway. It's why you had the independent tournament circuit, for example. You had the WTC. You have all these tournaments. Which tournaments are actually under Games Workshop? You have the heats and the final. We don't have to buy this stuff. So what I've been trying to do is I've been trying to start a conversation about what we actually decide to use. Because Games Workshop can print all the books they want under the guise of wanting to make as much money as they can. That doesn't mean we necessarily have to use everything they put out. So I would like to start a conversation about setting a standard for what we want to use at events. Now, for example, lots of events started using a certain terrain layout, for example. That may have started in Nova, I'm not entirely sure. But then people copied it and it spread and it spread. And people started to go to events specifically because they like that terrain set out. Different events can do what they want in terms of books. You can have your own event which has everything goes. You can take whatever you want. But I would like to start a conversation specifically with a lot of the events I go to and a lot of the TOs I know about which books we allow. Because the number of books we have in this game and specifically the number of sources where I have to try and find my books from. I remember last year before the London GT, I was trying to look at an AdMech list and I couldn't find the rules for the Scorpius Dune Rider. And the reason was the only place I could find them was in the fucking box with the model. It's not an accessible game to play at a competitive level. I am the vice captain of my international team doing pairings and I have no idea where the fuck half the rules are.
Well, Wahapedia.ru is where they really are.
Shut up,
I was only going to interrupt to say they don't just make money; they make like
shit
Tesla money. Yeah, like big stonky money.
It's not like it's not like they have some kind of like moral compass where we've made enough money now, we're going to stop.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with them trying to make money. I just have an issue with how they are trying to make money.
Yeah, I think it's bad.
And I think this conversation around this kind of campaign book, and also I think we need to lump in the app and also what Tom said about the independent circuits or international circuits. Who's deciding? Is it Games Workshop deciding that you must use all these books and these are all legal, or is it an independent body saying we approve these books at X, Y, Z? In terms of them making money, they love making and selling books, and I have an issue with campaign books because, as a Death Guard player, if I want the rules that are in there, that's a couple of pages out of however many pages. It's like 5% of the book. I want 5% of that book. I don't want the rest of it. But they want me to pay them to design, print, make, ship, and deliver this book to me when I just want those few bits of rules when I could just download it onto an app. I can pay them £5 to just download what I want onto an app.
It's like selling the big Bonjela because you know that you need to buy the Bonjela, but you're not going to use 80% of a tube.
Well, can I give you a quick one about when I entered in the hobby? And this might be a bit too specific, really, for the conversation because I think so. When I entered into the hobby, for 40k specifically, one of the cool things I did because I live in Nottingham, because I went obviously into Games Workshop, but more specifically Warhammer World, and they had all the Forge World books on the shelf that you could buy, and they looked awesome, and I bought them, and this is before 8th edition. So, and I don't think any of those. I think some of them had data sheets in that were still applicable to the game. I'm not 100% certain, if I'm honest at the time, but they looked incredible, and I really liked it because they were like, oh, this is this whole campaign book about Tau and other stuff, and I was like, that's so cool because it's like an upgraded codex, right? Let's say it was the Tau one. Let's say I'm really excited about Tau as a thing. It gave me this big, chunky, kind of more specific, and I was like, I actually am really pro that. As a thing, because if I'm a consumer, I get to choose my channel of consumerism, if that makes sense. I'm oh, I like this thing a lot, so I'm going to get to go in and be involved in it. So I quite liked that at the time. However, I've either thrown away, sold them, or donated them to a charity shop now. And like, while they're beautiful coffee books, like, you know, for your coffee table, and there's some conversation about like the value of something like that forever, a portion of these books is always rules which eventually go out of time. So I would say that, like, I'm really pro the campaign books. Just put the rules for free somewhere else.
Yes,
they don't.
100%. I don't have an issue with them making this style of book, but they need to. They should be. There should be a separation of the narrative and art and the campaign stuff. Like, just do that and have the match play rules available elsewhere that are separate from that.
I think. Oh, so you finished, Nicholas. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Well, that was basically it. It's just like, if you want, like, I don't have a problem with them making like really cool narrative books and loads of artwork, but just sell it specifically as that. Don't, because I feel like there's like a tax at the minute on both sets of players, because they've kind of like separated us almost now. Like, they've gone, right, there's narrative and open play players, and there's match play and competitive players, and you guys are separate, but you're all buying the same book, and you're kind of being taxed for one another existing. Like, we're having to pay extra for this book because there's narrative in it for the people who want the narrative, and the narrative people are getting charged for the rules that they don't necessarily care about.
Yeah.
Also,
whereas why don't you separate
it's like the Defiler,
Go on, Nick. Sorry, carry on.
Just that, just have them separate.
I was just going to make the point. I was going to make the point that, like, the conversation about them making money is fine. Like, and I feel maybe I don't feel emotionally connected to that conversation anymore, because I have zero intent of ever purchasing the book. I 100% will take all of that information in via other sources, but there is no way that I'm buying the book. There's no way.
Well, that's what I mean. I think they'll make more money if they change their method of selling these rules. Like, because this campaign book, I'm 100% happy saying on the internet or publicly that I will never buy this, and I will pirate the shit out of it. Get a dodgy copy from someone, get a photo from someone, because I don't want to have to pay 20 quid for a couple of pages that I may or may not use. I probably won't use the Death Guard stuff from the preview, but like, I'm never going to pay 20 odd quid what they want me to for this. The only reason I would have to is if tournaments are enforcing that you have to have this. If you want to use those rules, you have to have this, because like,
and you have to bring the book with you.
Yeah, lots of tournaments say you can't use Battlescribe as a rules reference. You have to have the official book if you're going to come to a tournament and say to your opponent, these are the rules. You can't point at Battlescribe and say the rules are there, because it's not an official source. You have to have the book or something like that. Whereas, so effectively, the books, like, all of us can get our rules from various different sources, but effectively the book is a license for us to use the rule. Like, we can get the rule, we can know the rule from someone telling it us, or sending a picture, or downloading a dodgy copy, or buying the official book. But the official book is purely, in my eyes, a license for us to use it at a tournament. So why don't you have it as a digital thing? So I will give them more of my money if they put more of the rules digitally available in the app, which was good.
So I have a question, actually. Sorry, I have a question for you both, and also for the Twitch chat. Like, are you guys annoyed? Yeah. Hold on. Let's say it was a free product. Yeah. Let's say it was a free product. Would you guys be interested in downloading it?
If it was free to download, and I would download it to look at the rules if it was free.
All right. What about you, Tom?
My issue is twofold. Firstly, I think the less important issue to me is a financial one, but I have to keep buying books. It isn't as important as the other one to me. The main issue I have with this is just simply the number of sources and not being able to actually tell where all my shit is. I'd prefer they just collated it, or even just had an official list on their website of where you could find all the rules for every faction.
Yeah, I think ultimately, like, what I'm getting from both of you, listening to both of you, is you're both, like, emotional about it because you care. Like, you genuinely want the thing, like, in some ways. Like, like Tom, your idea about, like, the bloat, or the point about the bloat, I think is genuine. And I think that actually that makes loads and loads of sense, because actually it's really confusing. And like you said, as the head of an international team who plays 40k a lot, finding rules is complicated for you. So how the hell can some nub, Yeah, like just play a regular pickup game with his mates.
So that's the argument I could make if I was trying to appeal to like other players and how it must be for them. I am saying this because I'm lazy and I can't be asked to find it all. It's far too hard. It shouldn't be hard work for me to enjoy a game. It shouldn't be a chore.
No, and unfortunately, currently it is.
Yeah.
Because there is no one place that you can go to and go, right, I know with pretty good confidence that this is an accurate source and has all the rules up to date as of this moment in time. We all wanted the app. We all wanted the app to be that thing, but sadly, it's been a clusterfuck, and it isn't that thing.
Yeah.
And there was a famous example that you touched on Tuesday, Rob, on the 40k Jason show about Sean Naden in America, who's quite a famous player, you know, highly respected and should be knowing his shit, going to an event with, turns out, an illegal list, because the rule, what is and isn't like the current up-to-date thing that is allowed is confusing to find.
The numbers
because two different conflicting sources.
Yeah, it's so silly. Like, and here's a great example of something that's not going to be up to date. Drakari on release.
Yeah,
because they've already got a campaign book dropping.
Yeah, so like, hold on, So Scott B says, and Zip Zap Rap says, and this is fascinating. I would love this deep dive because I do recognise that we as a show and also the communities we represent, whether it be 40k or Age Sigmar, are like the 1% of a 1%. We're in like a niche of a niche, right? That's why like we don't get like that mini wargaming numbers, right? Or like or something similar, because ultimately like the competitive element, like getting everything right, is actually more of a niche in this hobby than just having a great time. Yeah, like so like Scott B is saying, there are some people just playing out of the book. They're at the table eyeballing each other, probably not now, but at some point, and they're like, okay, I've got an intercessor and I hit on a 3, and then they roll the dice. Like right, and that's happening in real time. I absolutely agree. However, I will push back on that point as a whole, in that a lot of the media that gets talked about, for instance, Games Workshop are doing these Meta Watch articles, make of them what you will, or Sales Watch is probably better, but like they have like people like the Art War guys as an example, or the 40k Stat Center as an example. And when you listen to Pete talk, or when you listen to Nick talk, or any of those people, or when you like talk about the WTC stuff, any of those things, what you're listening to is the people talk about the game in only a competitive setting. None of these talking heads, which I think are becoming more popular generally, like even like the like Tabletop Titans as an example is a huge YouTube channel. They do a really good job, but they're constantly talking about the rules and the FAQs and how it's relevant. So even the nubs are being talked to by the talking heads about how important the rules are and also how precise they are. Does that make sense? So I feel like maybe it's true that a lot of the market is just a bunch of people just like eyeballing their book and discovering that Space Marines are toughness 4. But there's also a significant portion and a growing portion of their community who are more like savvy to the information, or at least know there's an FAQ.
Can I ask? Sorry, you go, Nick.
I was going to say, and that proportion of the community has been growing, and they are also pushing it. And there appears to be some sort of grand plan in the near future where they're going to have more of a professionalized and bigger and focused tournament circuit. So if they want to grow that, they need to put the resources in there to enable that community to grow and not have these kind of issues that it's hard work to know what is the exact rule at this moment.
Yeah.
Like you should be able to go to a tournament and not if a rules query comes like, oh, what is the current rule on this? You shouldn't have to go to the community page and look through the FAQ. You should just go, right, we'll just check the app. What does the app say? Oh, it says that. And that's the rule.
Yeah.
That's what it should be.
That's the major issue, I think. And bringing up what happened with Sean Naden at the weekend's a really good point. Like, Battlescribe. I go to Battlescribe. Warhapedia and Battlescribe seem like my two sources. Do you guys have anything, like, as a suggestion, as an answer to this problem that we're talking about? Do you guys have a suggestion?
So, can I ask a quick question, Rob?
Because
I've been trying to for about 20 minutes, but it's fine. So to clarify the Naden thing, basically Sean took a list to an event in Texas, and he was running single units of 1 Razor Wing. Now, in one of the books, previously it said you could use units of 1 to 12, and in another one it said you could use units of 3 to 12. I'm not entirely sure which one came around first, but either way, there's been a big debate about that. The second question I wanted to ask, Rod, because you were talking a lot about people getting more talkative about this issue. What was the overall reaction like in the Age of Sigmar community when the news of the new Lumineth book dropped? Specifically, because I know it's an AOS topic, but I am interested in it because I don't know if it's a case of people finding out more information or if it's a case of people just saying, yeah, this is a bit of shit
so what's
independently
the question,
of themselves. What was the Age of Sigmar reaction like when the new Lumineth book was announced?
Split. Like, mainly a lot of upset because they were having to buy another book so soon. A lot of upset about the fact that the content had been broken apart in parts, but also excitement because it was also to do with a bunch of new miniatures. So, like, there was also access to a new wave of miniatures. I think one of the key points of this conversation, and I think one of the key points of the whole conversation, is while we're all really bougie, like really invested in the actual rules, guys. Like the rules, like we're a really weird subgroup of people. I was explaining this to someone the other day. Like Honest Wargamer crew, competitive people generally. I was like I was explaining, and I was like, I'm a weird guy. And they were like, True. What do you mean? I was like, I like the narrative. I was like, I like the narrative. Don't get me wrong. I like the setting. I like the painting. I like the miniatures. I like how it all works. But I'm a mechanics guy through and through. Probably even most of the people listening to this show aren't a mechanics guy. Like the mechanics people are very specific people. They're weird and wonderful people. And you say like, I can do this thing and that, and someone goes, ho, 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 that is really nice. And that's a very small section of the community that get jonesed up about the fact that you can do these mechanical things or you can do these plays, right? Like it's a small section. Like, and I completely understand that. Similarly, though, like that group of people are the people who are going to absolutely beat the toss out of all the other people. Like, and they're going to have a tough time. They're going to be like, what the fuck is happening?
Toss is a very appropriate word for these guys.
Right, and the fact that you can't grab all of the information in a place, I don't know. The point is, Tom, is with the Lumineth book, it's exciting, and even the campaign book now is exciting for me because it's more mechanics. Like, it's more mechanics, but it's such a high price. It's such a high price threshold, and I don't think I am the core audience. I think that there are more people excited about Be'lakor as a model than that I am excited about like how I can build an awesome formation and min-max it, right?
I love more mechanics. I just hate that they're everywhere.
That's true.
I think that's
one place.
Yeah, that's one of the main. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, great. There's more rule stuff, but it's in another book.
Yeah,
to add to the pile.
Well, should we talk what's in the book? Because I think, yeah, like good point. I know you two, like Tom. One of your points also was that you think that some events should pick and choose whether or not some of these things are even applicable.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to see if it would impact events, right? Because I would definitely love like going to more events. If you say like if I were to run an event, for example, I would love to just out of interest say, okay, main rulebook, codexes, Forge World Index. I know, I can't believe I'm saying that.
You've changed, Tom. You have changed.
And then Psychic Awakenings. 4 books that have not had a codex since the Psychic Awakening was released.
Yes. Yeah. I think ultimately, like, and also if you guys go back and listen, like, if you guys have listened to this conversation, God, you guys are sorry. If you go back and listen to our excitement and enthusiasm and hope for the app, because you're right, all of these apps, like, I have a question. When this is released on the first day, is the app immediately updated so I can build my army with all the new stuff? Because I understand that you still can't even build an army in the app, and I'm not going to, right? True, so I have to wait a couple of days for the Battlescribe guys to do it, and then I'm done.
Yeah.
That's my process.
Yeah.
We're not even necessarily even having to cry about the new release, right? Yeah, it's more stuff. It's great. I actually kind of like new stuff. I'm less sold on the formations. I'm less sold on all the supplements. But it's more mechanics. I want the game to be more complicated. That's great. I'm just talking about how I would ideally like to see the game. Because the issue I have at the minute is just following along. The speed can be fine. It just has to be done properly.
It's true. It's true. The following along is problematic, I guess, especially for a new person. You know, like a new person turns up, they're like, "Hey, I want to collect Death Guards." Like, well, here's your book. Here's the book rules. Here's your campaign book. You're
like dude, even in that list of things I just rattled off about what I'd allow at a tournament, White Dwarf, there's still a White Dwarf in it.
Yeah, a magazine is weird. Can we talk about playing a modern game with a magazine?
Mate,
yeah,
we've got the Harlequins one and the Deathwatch one in there. Now, Deathwatch have a codex now, so you wouldn't need it. But you still got the Harlequins one in the White Dwarf. Now, that's a different conversation we need to do a whole show on. Because otherwise, this is going to
8 hours or I'm not doing it at all. We do the whole thing.
That is the entire 369 birthday, okay?
Just why are we getting stuff in White Dwarf, and why does it exist? All right. I appreciate both of you, by the way, being really candid about your thoughts on this. Because ultimately, when I see it, I'd like to point out, and again, I know I made this point already. I see this, I'm actually genuinely excited. But I see it, and I know I'm never buying it. Does that make sense? So
just
to me,
have a subscription. Anything you want, I'll just send to you.
It's our Warhammer app.
Yeah,
I have my
Warhammer
Warhammer
accounts.
account with 8 people. It's an our Warhammer app. It's super cheap. My point is I'm never going to buy it. So like immediately when I see it, I'm like, that's super cool, because I've already disavowed myself that I'm going to spend. I want to spend my money on miniatures. I don't want to spend it on rules constantly all the time. And the narrative is the bonus to the rules for me. Rather, because I like the story. Fuck yeah. But like there'll be a guy who makes a YouTube lore video about it in like a month, or not even that, a week. So I can absorb that as well. Yeah. So I get excited ultimately. And then the Return of Formations, I also like. Let me tell you why. Because I think it's really great for new people. Same in Age of Sigmar. I think battalions are good for new people because it gives them a story to build their army around. Like, I think that's an important bit. They just go, cool, this is the army that does that. I mean, there is already story for every other army, so they could just do that. But I think that's a nice touch. Just going to put it out there.
That's fine. Keep it out of organised play.
Yeah, well, yeah. So make this for the Crusade guys, because the Crusade thing is their thing for people who want to tell stories and are interested in gaming that way.
Yeah.
So cool. Make this kind of cool themed formation thing, but just like Tom said, perhaps just leave it out of match play.
How about that? Because I want to clarify when I said that. I didn't say match play. I said organised play.
Organised play.
And there's a reason why I think there's a difference. If I'm going to a local club, right, and I'm like, let's say I'm 18-year-old, 17-year-old Tom again, right, and I'm going to my first Verona Skulls in 2012. And I rock up at my local club and I want to learn about how to play 40k properly and officially, right? That is basically me just learning the rules, learning the mechanics, and what have you. You can do that with these without it necessarily mattering, because Crusade opens up a whole nother can of worms where you've got all these other like random rules that you can throw in, right? Whereas I feel like this is something we should keep out of organised play of our own basis, rather than something that GW mandate is organised play. Because who are GW to say what is organised play and what isn't, right?
They only make the game, exactly. Fuck them. Good point, Tom.
Dude, here's a good example. Fucking CS:GO, right? Like, they run the two majors, that's fine. Like, but most of the events are done independently by ESL, Flashpoint, Blast, independent tournament organisers. 40k is like a similar landscape in terms of all the events, pretty much. Face it, like all the events are done basically by independent dudes.
Good point.
Like,
the only example being in America where it's no longer independent and it's Games Workshop Light, right?
He can't stop.
It's true. Like
Games Workshop subsidiary company.
I'm sure it is, but Anyway, so I feel like it's more of a thing that we should remove of our own volition rather than it being a Games Workshop thing, because I don't want to give Games Workshop full control over what the competitive scene looks like, because I don't trust them with it.
Fair points and well made. I think that's a good point. Just a couple of things, little notation device. If anyone in the chat is a level 2 sub on Nurse Wargamer, there is a new emote that you can use. I think I don't know how it works, but I've just been informed.
It's the on2 poggers.
Yeah, the Honest Wargamer Poggers. We have now got an Honest Wargamer Poggers specifically for Tom. Not of Tom, but anyway.
Yeah, but it's of you, so
You can do some poggers.
it goes right next to Tory Rob.
Yes. Anyway, let's. So, should we talk about what's in here? While we talk about what's in here, I'm just going to take a quick unhydration break. I'll be back in a moment.
So
Reverse hydration.
He's a big streamer now. He gets unhydration breaks, whereas we have to sit here.
He gets a streamer break. He gets a stream break.
I am very flattered that he trusts us not to say anything like horrific.
Like what?
On the show.
What might we say that would be...
I mean, I might dress up my net guns again, and the stream would have to see him.
Yeah.
And
should we just divert
immediately? Yeah.
Should we just divert the stream
by the
towards
way,
talking about your crystal mech guns?
We could do. Although we have just been raided by Frogline Studio with a raid party of 21. Thank you very much, Frogline Studio, for dropping your sick load all over the chat.
Hello, dudes.
You shouldn't trust us.
We were just talking about Tom's crystal mech guns and how they got him in trouble with the entire international community. Are you still avoiding that court case, Tom?
Yeah, I'm. I don't suppose you're familiar with the Costa Concordia.
I am not.
I watched an internet historian video the other day where apparently the first mate just flew to the Philippines where they caught him, and instead of doing his trial, he flew to the Philippines again, and they haven't found him since. So
that's your plan. That's your escape plan.
Yeah. I am banned from certain events until I fix my my crystal mech gun scenario. Which luckily we have 3D printers now, Nikos. So I'm sure it wouldn't be too difficult. I'm sure I can print some equally horrific abominations to take to tournaments. So, I feel like they'll still win more painting awards than most Bellacore armies, to be honest, mate, because it was homemade and made with love and care.
Have you guys got into it yet, or are you not?
No,
We've been talking about Tom's plan to escape from the Philippines once the hobby crime charges eventually catch up to him.
True, it's true.
Dear God. Dear God.
I'm not raided, by the way.
We got raided. Who by?
Frogline Studio.
Yeah. So all my crystal mech guns bring all the boys to the yard. So.
Oh, hey guys! Welcome to the show. We're 3 salt miners every Thursday. Feel free. Could I just also thank both Nick and Tom this entire conversation and the fact that we made partner, unsponsored, we just told it like we said it for an entire 3 years. Finally became partner.
Well, the downside is now we're sponsored by Amazon, so now we can't criticize. It's all over. It's all over, guys. We're no longer independent.
You've got to be nice about Twitch as well.
You can now purchase your Wind Rider jet bikes from Amazon.com.
Yeah, if you'd like to buy your local independent game store, Amazon.com.
They're so local, we can get it to you today.
Right, can we talk about these Army of Renown? So Army of Renowns are a new word for formations, which are, as we understand it, free ways to, so it doesn't cost you any points. You build an army inside the formation. It has some restrictions, but then it gives you a bonus ability on top. As I understand it, do you lose your sub-faction rule? So it's basically another sub-faction.
I don't think so. No,
I do not have a clue.
I do not believe. So. I think it's just there's a restriction on how you build the detachment, what goes in there, and then you get a bonus if you comply with that restriction. I don't think it takes anything else away. I think it's just a bonus as long as you meet the criteria.
I also want to be to clarify here, Rob. It's not a formation because the guy on your model bloggers old stream said we weren't allowing formations in the new 40k, right? So it is instead an army of renown. We need to be very clear with the terminology, right?
Yeah, because I can't remember where it was pointed out. I can't remember where it was pointed out, but it was something like specialist detachments aren't allowed.
Yeah, that's why they kicked out Vigilance.
This isn't a specialist detachment.
It's not.
This
is a regiment of renown, Rob. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Listen, I'm fine. So when you tune into our show now, do you have to watch an ad before you're allowed to watch?
Yeah.
If you're not a subscriber.
Yes. To be fair, we should have been playing ads for the last 2 hours or whatever it is. But
let's go. I don't know what that means, but I'm really happy that you guys get to watch it.
I hope you all got an excellent advert, guys.
Yeah, I hope you all got a nice ad before you got here. Anyway, that's so funny. So the Army of Renown, the Terminus Est Assault Force. This is Typhus's force, right? And this is the way it works. Your army cannot include any units with the vehicle keyword. Okay.
Okay.
All really happy I painted those 7 Mephitic Blight Haulers. Let's go. All units in your army must be Death Guard, and if they are from a plague company, they must be drawn from Harbingers. So it has to be a Harbingers one, Nick. So it still does get all the sub-faction rules from Harbingers. Death Guard Psychers in your army can generate their psychic powers from the Festa discipline, so an additional discipline, but not the core discipline. So you are giving up some of the greatest psychic powers in 40k, right? Like Cloud of Flies, Miasma, not Cloud of Flies, whatever, but Miasma. And then Terminus Assault Force units in your army gain the Outbreak Assault ability, which is units placed in street reserves, then basically you can deep strike a unit anywhere. So if you put them into strategic reserve instead of having to come in from the board edge, or like on the restrictions that they have, you can just deep strike them. Which is rubbish in an army that can already deep strike?
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not that. I think I was trying to think, what would this be good with? I don't think it's that good anyway, because Death Guard don't really have any mechanics that either boost your charge roll or give you like re-rolls to charge. Do you think the only thing is the generic stratagem for the re-roll? So it's not something that great that you can necessarily build an army around, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, it's probably just. I think my issue with it more is going to be when you last saw formations in 7th edition, most of them were kind of dog shit. But the ones that weren't dog shit were fucking hell. It was just 3 rolls that just bent the game.
What, in the formations? Yeah, I mean, the formations previously, yeah. Like, I mean, the fact that they've said that they're going to get relics. So the actual ability isn't huge. But if you were planning on running Harbingers anyway, you now are running Harbingers with a restriction, no vehicles, which is a negative, but also some additional options potentially. So, like, if it turns out that running Harbingers and then running Harbingers in this means that psychic discipline is great, you could end up seeing like a stronger Death Guard army down the line, or a different strong Death Guard army.
I think the main benefit of this is that maybe now Jim will stop running fucking Defilers, and that's the only positive I can see.
Okay.
Out of these rules, disgusting.
And then no, I didn't think anyone was running Harbingers like at all. I'm saying that because this is one example, right? This is only one example that we've seen. Because we're going to see, this isn't the first campaign book, boys.
Yeah, is there going to be, I presume that this is just I presume there's going to be one for each of the play companies like this.
What, eventually, you think?
A renown, in this campaign book? Because this is just like,
no.
I know Harbingers is Typhus's play company specifically.
No,
so there's only this one. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, I definitely won't be buying it then.
There's just this. You've basically got most of it, right? Then you've got a stratagem called Callous Disregard, where you can shoot into a unit engaged in combat with your own units, as long as they're Poxwalkers, I think it says. Poxwalkers or Plague Followers.
Poxwalkers are cultists.
And if you miss, then you end up... So if you miss shooting at the enemy unit, then you hit your own unit, which I think is quite themey, at least.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then there's a psychic power called Lung Rot, which is actually really good. Selecting a unit within 18 inches, the unit cannot advance each time this unit is selected to charge. Only eligible units within 6 inches can be selected as the target of its charge. And each time a charge roll is made for that unit, it cannot be re-rolled. So some pretty strong abilities there. Like, I think that's quite strong.
Yeah, I think that's quite a good power. Yeah, I think. The issue might be that the psycho casting it's got to be within 18, because I think it's more relevant for stuff that you want to keep away from you that's far across the table, like a fast-moving combat unit. Whereas you've got to get a psycho in place close to that combat unit to debuff it. So I presume in this hypothetical scenario, you're in the middle of the board and you want to stop something getting to your backfield, so you'd cast that. It's not going to stop it getting to the caster necessarily. Well, I guess unless it's like just an infantry unit that's moving 6. But I imagine that most units that you're going to want to cast this stuff on is going to be like a fast-moving salty unit.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing that this army has is Rock Grip, a strength ×3 relic. Oh, baby.
Unnecessary strength.
Way too strong. So a Power Fist or Plague Claw, which is quite cute, and that's fun.
Because one thing that's just I've realised that made me laugh. Like they said, you want to be able to punch a knight on 2s or whatever like that. Well, Death Guard can already wound a nut on 2s because you're reducing the toughness to 7, your strength 8, you're wounding on 3s, and you use the +1 to wound strat to wound on 2s if you really want to. So
yeah, but the guy that wrote the
not
article
that special.
He just works at the company.
Fair enough.
It just means
yeah, he just works there. Like, bless him. Can you imagine being the guy? He just gets the new book and he just opens it, he's like, what? Like, he just doesn't know. He's like, what do I put up? I don't know. Bless him. Or her. Or them. Whoever they are. Right, so the Mechanicum one. Overall, what do you think of it? Do you think it's useless? Whatever? Think it's not important? Because the good thing would be if they were all useless, then you don't care.
Yeah, I hope they are all useless, personally.
Yeah, I think they're all so dog shit, no one ever takes me, never need to have a conversation because I'm an introvert.
Ever again.
Ever again.
Well, the Mechanicum one is called the Mechanicus Defense Cohort. The army cannot include Skitari, Cataphron Breachers, Cataphron Destroyers, Servitors, and Castellan Robots. So it
cannot include any of those?
No, it cannot.
Okay. So what can it include as our resident AdMech player, Rob?
Oh, no, wait, sorry. No, I've read that super wrong.
You can include those.
Yeah. You cannot include Skitari. Sorry. I did read this earlier anyway. So you cannot include Skitari, but you can include Breachers, Destroyers, Servitors, and Castellans.
Okay, so they're replacing the rules that they kicked out of Vigilant as for Breachers with these new rules for Breachers.
Nailed it. Yeah.
So
and then they get the Extremist Sentinel Protocols ability. Each time a ranged attack is allocated to a model in this unit, if this unit is either wholly within its controller's deployment zone, or if every model in this unit is within range of an objective marker, subtract 1 from the damage characteristic of that attack. So it's -1 damage from ranged attacks is the Sentinel Protocols. There's some more. So I imagine these protocols are going to be activated like the other protocols are. If it holds steady, then until the end of the phase, any Overwatch attacks made by models in this unit score hits on an unmodified roll of a 5 instead of a 6. That's another option. And then the other one, if it sets to defend, it cannot fire Overwatch, but until the next fight phase, each time a model in this unit makes a melee attack, you add 1 to the attack's hit rolls. So those are the kind of bonuses that you can get there from being in the defense cohort on those different units. So no Skitari. No Skitari is what I'm saying.
Were you taking Skitari? Apart from
no.
Were the doggos are the doggos Skitari or not?
Yeah, they have the Skitari keyword.
I think so.
Okay, so you're just taking a different detachment then, I guess, right?
Yeah. But yeah, it also doesn't say.
This one says your army cannot include Skitari.
Slightly better. Okay. Rather than just taking 3 aspect hosts, we're all good, guys. It's fine.
Right. The point is that it also doesn't say, like Scott B says, doesn't say really how you activate those protocols, but I imagine it's like other protocols that you see in the mechanical book anyway. So then, while they might not have the new psychic discipline of their own, the Mechanics Defense Cohort also gains new stratagems and a powerful relic. This stratagem that they get is the pre-calibrated Purge Solution. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase when an extremist sentinel unit from your army that is wholly within your deployment zone is selected to shoot. Till the end of the phase, each time a model on that unit makes an attack against an enemy unit that is wholly within the enemy deployment zone, you can add 1 to the attack rolls. So super specific. But +1 to hit is generally quite nice in the Skitari Force. Not Skitari Force, sorry, Mechanicus Force. Especially on some of the Cataphrons, because some of them can hit on 4s. So having them hit on +1 is quite nice. So that's pretty good, but it's like quite hard to do. And then bolster defenses, 2 CP, use the stratagem before the battle, after determined deployment zone, select 1 area terrain or obstacles feature within your deployment zone. That terrain feature gains light cover. If it already had light cover terrain trait, it add 2 to the saving throw instead of 1. Invulnerable saves are not affected. You can use the stratagem once. So you can give yourself +2 to save on a unit.
What save is a breacher?
4+.
4.
So taking down to a 2+. Which is
So
quite
I
nice
guess.
for 2 CP. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a new relic called the Fortify thing. So it doesn't really tell you how to do much. I think the big takeaway from here is that you could get a -1 damage aura from the protocol, which could be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You got any thoughts on it? No thoughts?
It doesn't seem like it's creating a horrible scenario where there's a filthy army. So
no,
well,
but it's about setting a precedent, I think, of just rules everywhere, and then at some point one's going to be giga broken somewhere.
Well, so the point is that this isn't the only stuff that's in there. This is just some of the stuff we know about so far.
We've got the supplements as well, don't we?
Yeah, there's supplements in here as well. So like it's going to be really, really big. Let me just get you the list of contents. Give me a second.
It's 22 pages.
Of rules?
Of shit we care about, yes.
Yeah. So it's so there's the Army of Renown for the Mechanicus, which we've only read some elements of it. We don't know what else it's getting right now. Then the Codex supplements for Metallica, so there's a whole Metallica supplement in there as well, which is 4 pages long. Then there's an Army of Renown for the Freeblade Lance, and then there's a Codex supplement for House Raven, and then there's the Army of Renown, which we've read about for the Death Guard, which has still got more stuff. We haven't seen the Psychic Tree, loads of stuff there. And then there's also the Festa Discipline as well, and then there's the Codex supplement, the Cult of Strife, which is the Drukhari one. So there's loads of rules, man. Like, loads of rules. So yeah.
At least they're all in one place, so I don't have to go hunting them everywhere.
That's true.
Oh, thank fuck for that.
That's true.
Great.
They're all in one place. Yeah, I would say that as a concept, there's so many ancient, out-of-date books. Yeah, it's interesting whether or not. So my question to you guys is, do you feel that, because it's got the Drukhari stuff in, the Death Guard stuff in, that makes me feel like the Mechanicum book, because we've obviously got the reveal this weekend, the Mechanicum book is probably the next book in the list, because it's the only one, and maybe also Knights. Maybe those books were already meant to be out when we got this book announced, if that makes sense.
Yeah, quite possibly, because we know they're behind in their production schedule, obviously, because of everything that's going on in the world. And the latest points manual that got given out in the White Dwarf, there was lots of stuff when that came out originally as a PDF, even before Christmas, that like the Death Guard updated points are in there, and the Dark Eldar updated points in there, so they're clearly behind, aren't they?
They are.
By quite a way.
Mm-hmm. They are. I think it's interesting. Did go into say if the book comes with a code for the app? Oh my god! I assume it will.
I assume so. Yeah.
I assume it will. It does seem odd to release the Dark Elder Codex and extra rules in this book on the same day. I would agree. But we'll see anyway. We'll know by the weekend. And what's fun is we're going to be doing the reveal show on Saturday. Nick sadly can't join us, but I think Tom is maybe joining us. I don't know.
I'm there. In fact, I'm playing a game at 8:30, and then I'm going to do I'm then going straight into the reveal show.
Ooh, okay, well that's fun. So yeah, we're going to be live on Saturday for that. But overall, I think we've covered all of the talking points, right? We talked about the rules being all over the place because of the Naden thing, and also because of this. We talked about Be'lakor and all of that. Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah, there's a lot going on in 40k at the minute, but it's like difficult to put together in some ways. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah. 100%.
Okay. All right. You guys got any plans for this week for 40k? Tom, you said you're playing some games. What
I'm
army are you
playing
playing
tomorrow.
with?
I'm playing Sisters Mirror in the Scottish League. Then I am playing Sisters versus something at 8:30 on Saturday morning in the Northern Warlords League.
Is this your first run out with the Sisters Battle?
No, I've played a few games now. I've played about 10, probably. I'll have to
about 10. I'm sure you only just started to say you were going to play them like last week.
Probably, that's about how it's gone. And then I am going to play my game in the Scottish Scrim because we're scrimming Scotland. We did our pairings yesterday, and I'm playing that on Tuesday.
How are you finding the Sisters Battle?
I feel like they are manageable if you understand them. I think that more and more as people build towards playing 9th better, there also happens to play against sisters quite well. For example, the way Sean built his list, even though it was illegal, to play 9th edition also happens to play really, really well onto sisters because you do need to do the same things to beat sisters that you do to win a normal game of 40k. So I feel like as people get more streamlined and better with their lists, I think sisters are going to fall off a bit. That said, I'm still not playing them perfectly. I still need to batter out some details and really get smooth on them, and I'm kind of familiar with the mechanics, but it's about how to use them as efficiently as I can now. But we'll have to see. It's an interesting book for sure.
Got a standout unit?
Let me have a think. I like the Zephyrim actually, although they're very swingy. The Retributors and Repenter, obviously, everyone's going to talk about. I've been trying to get, Retributors are broken. Repenter are really, really strong for their points, are far too efficient. I'm trying to get the hang of Mortifiers. I'm struggling with them a little bit, specifically for how I'm trying to use them. I need to get a lot better at using those Mortifiers, which are basically like pants and engines just covered in heavy bolters and shit, and flails. So once I got the hang of those, maybe they'll be pretty good. But for now, I'm going to say the Zephyrim because I'm enjoying using those, and they're not the most common unit you normally see.
Okay, fascinating. All right, thanks for that. Nick, you got any 40k plans this week? You doing some more painting?
I'm probably just going to try and finish my next unit of Death Shroud Terminators.
Narrative.
Yeah, for my narrative campaign coming up. So yeah, that's basically my main hobby focus at the minute, just getting those finished for my narrative campaign.
Okay, all right, nice.
And no other secret plans for 40k.
Good.
Yep.
Good. All right, well, lovely. Thanks to you two today. I know we didn't have a main subject today. There just seemed like a lot of news, and I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, 100%.
The first campaign book is a big one. Can't wait to do the review. I would like to do the review next Thursday of the campaign book, as opposed to do a review of the Chikari book first. I think that's going to be the most important, and I think it will be honestly interesting to look at. Thanks to everyone for tuning in live. Thank you to everyone on Patreon, of course, and thank you for listening to the podcast. I hope you're all super well. Thank you to everyone who subscribes on Twitch, and if you don't, you're going to have to watch an ad now to watch us. So that's your fault.
Ah, we're moving on up in the world.
Oh, we are moving up in the world.
Subscribe to avoid those adverts, right?
And you can use all your brand new emotes in the chat. Don't forget you can use them wherever you want, which is fun. Thanks for listening and tuning in. Nick, you got shout outs?
Ooh. Not really, no.
Okay, all right. Classic. Tom, this is just for this is just for Warhams, by the way, who asked on Twitter. Tom, a shout out from you.
Yeah, shout out to the Sunday show we're going to be doing on Sunday. Yep.
That is going to be really fun. So Sunday, 7 o'clock. Right, let's go raid someone. That's what we have to do at the end of the show now. Podcast Bros. Raid.
Shadow Legends.
Who shall we raid today and make feel happy? That's what we'll go do. There's loads of people watching.
Let's go to the Warhammer section. There's Glasshammer, there's
thanks
Jay.
everyone for watching. Who's lovely? Who's lovely?
So,
Mohawk Miniatures is really nice.
Yeah, I can raid Jay.
Or should we raid someone like
He's also doing an orc.
He's
doing a
an orc.
shock jump dragster.
But should we make a guy with not many viewers feel super happy?
Yeah, we can do. Let's have a look down here. There's a few here.
Unboxing Magnus, Bad Company Painting. What's this guy? Painting Age of Sigmar. Pimp My List. Oh,
Spiky Bits TV only has one viewer. They must be small. Maybe we should raid them.
There seems to be a match going on. Go on.
We can do Off the Shelf Hobby. They're Welsh boys.
Off the Shelf Hobby.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
They're doing their own talk thing. So.
Tom, you are actually a mod, so you can do this. But is it?
I have no idea how to.
Is it off? Is it use / raid in the chat? Off the Shelf Hobby. So I'm going to let you be in charge of this. This is you're doing it.
This.
Oh, putting Tom in charge.
You don't have permission to perform that action.
Oh, damn it!
Okay.
No, it's this.
Rob trying to delegate. It's gone disastrously.
I did. I don't know why you're not allowed to do it. That's sad.
I feel like you've restricted my mod permissions. I'm just a mod in appearance only.
Mod in name, yeah. It's just like
they didn't give me any real power because I'd abuse it.
It's just a title.
Yeah, that's true. There you go.
I did it. Oh, I've done it. Right, let's go say hello to the person. Don't forget you've got a raid emote that you can use. So this will be super fun. Thanks for tuning in. You guys are great.
Thanks, guys.
I'm gonna go.
I love you all.
Yeah, I'm gonna go click it now. Love you tons. Have a nice day.
Bye.